from Newcastle Motorsports Park. It is the Superkarts USA Summer Nationals, Round 3 and the season finale of the 2024 Superkarts USA Pro Tour with an unprecedented prize package up for grabs for Pro X30 and Pro Shifter, live and free to view to all of you here in the paddock and live all around the world. It's been a whirlwind season here, and we kick things off for the first of our two main events on the day with Pro X30. Let's go back and see how things began all the way back in March at Orlando, Florida's own Orlando Kart Center with the first main event of 2024. It was a crazy main event for Pro X30 to kick things off in the beginning of the year. And as we take a look back here with our Coastal Link custom printing season recap, let's watch it. First and foremost, our year a little shaky for the class and, well, a little shaky for us. We'll give a funny backstory when we have time of our camera a little bit glitchy down there in turn one. But it was ADT and Ryan Norberg, a couple of Florida natives, coming together at the end of the opening lap on a 25-lap main, sent DeTulio to the weeds and gave Ryan Norberg the lead early here in the main event. DeTulio would continue, but Ryan would quickly come under fire with damage to the front end of his go-kart. A bent steering column threw him off for a lap till he figured out how to get it going and got back around SOTY Racing USA's Harley Keeble. Diego Ramos, Hayden Jones, Brandon Carr, all in line, trying to find a way past Mr. Orlando, Mr. 8-time Ryan Norberg, who is entering this weekend here with a good run because of how good he was able to be at his home racetrack. And then as the race went on, well, attrition began. DeTulio, the first to drop out on the interim S-Kart Republic with an engine issue with about 11 laps to go. The next one, Donovan Bonilla with a brake issue down in the back hairpin on the extra main event. The longer mains this year saw a couple out, and it also saw Harley Keeble with a massive engine failure late in the going. And it led to a last lap battle here with Hayden Jones and Diego Ramos, as well as a battle for fourth back between Dalton Haynes, Paulie Massimino, and Brandon Carr, while Ryan Norberg was able to scoot away, and his teammate Hayden Jones was able to make it a 1-2 run to start off the year. Then, as they battled to the line, well, the battles continued to the Motorsports Country Club of Cincinnati at round 2. Norberg, once again, starting from the pole, and he was able to lead us into turn number 2, where things, once again, got a bit hairy further back in the field. Massimino, Carr, Josh Holtz, and a ton of cars, including Donovan Bonilla, went off to the wayside. And while Norberg led early, it was his one-off teammate, Kai Hunter from the United Kingdom, that began to bring some challenge to the number 2 plate holder. Brandon Carr and Oliver Hodgson made it Brits 2, 3, and 4 early on in the main, but really the story was about the two Rawlson Performance Group drivers just trading the lead, making it look easy out in front and battling back and forth. They were just feeling each other out, it felt like, so we decided to check back in with the rest of the group. There was Hayden Jones, who finished second in round 1 and got turned sideways, and DeTulio ended up off and in the weeds and basically off the side of the racetrack for the second round in a row. And it looked all good until this moment for Ryan Norberg to go 2 for 2 on the mains and have a comfortable lead coming into the finale. But we saw a little hand movement there, and it might have been a carb adjustment, we thought at first. But as it turned out, the reeds started to go on the RPG driver, and in this moment right here, this championship went from all but locked up for the number 2 plate coming into Indiana to a DNF that was also compounded with a DQ for his GoPro falling off the kart as well, and that allowed this man, the number 85, Diego Ramos, to hang on for a great run to go to the podium in second. And Kai Hunter, a one-off run, took some points off the table with the win at Cincinnati. And more importantly, Diego Ramos entered this weekend with the lead. We've run 2 rounds of heats though, and the points have gotten even tighter. And now, by just 5 points, 1 position on the racetrack, Hayden Jones leads us into Sunday, and here he is with Dave.
Yeah, Hayden, we just saw the highlights. An entire season comes down to this, a 5-point championship lead and a front row start. What do you have to do to hang on to this championship?
I think just drive how I was yesterday. Keep calm, just try and get away with Ryan. That's the best opportunity that I have, but he's in the championship with me, so it's going to come down to the end.
This is a track that you've had success at, been victorious at before. Is this a great situation for you to try to get this, secure this championship?
I think so. I've wanted to come to this race the entire year. This is the one that I've been waiting for, so we're here now.
The prize pool, a record prize pool, unprecedented really. Is that starting to creep into your mind how important that is?
No, I haven't really thought about that. I'm just trying to not think about any of that stuff and just race how I always do.
That's Hayden Jones. He's going to race how he always does, and it's usually pretty good here at Newcastle Motorsports Park. Back up to you, Xander.
Thank you, Dave. And as we take a look here from the flags flying, we'll allow the officials to let the drivers begin to suit up and take a look at how the grid and the points dynamic changed a bit here with the highlights from yesterday's action in the heat races here, folks. First and foremost, with a fantastic performance by Ryan Norberg. Once again, he trailed by 97.5 points coming into the weekend. Granted, this was the season highlights we just showed you a moment ago, but here is the heat highlights from yesterday. Norberg qualified on the pole, and in heat one, well, he was able to get away early, and the battling began behind him. Diego Ramos initially entered with a 46-point lead on Hayden Jones. DeTulio entered 6th, and Harley Keeble, one of many drivers fighting for what will be the SKUSA Circle of Champions that we'll bring you some more intel about as the show goes on. But for Ramos, it was a backward slide from qualifying P2 to Norberg, while Jones went the other direction and charged up the grid. There you see DeTulio getting by on Diego Ramos. And initially, maybe we just thought, well, it wasn't a perfect setup for Diego, but he was going to be able to kind of rebound a little bit. There it was. Right on lap number 6, though. A big look to the heavens, and the engine started to go away. And just as it did for Norberg on the main event at Cincinnati, Diego Ramos suffered a DNF in the opening heat race of the weekend, and just like that to heat number 2, things tightened up in the points already. It was about a 20 to 30 point swing. He entered with barely the lead. There was some contact in turn 2 off the bat, but Norberg on the number 2 plate was able to get away early once again. Then down to turn number 2. Johnny Ports and Hayden Jones, Diego Ramos, all battling early up at the front, but Jones working his way through the grid to go forward, and the points leader coming into Saturday, Diego Ramos, it still seemed rough. There was Paulie Massimino, who also entered with a real shot at the title, getting by him, and Ramos would fade all the way back to outside the top 10 with a loss of the 9th spot to Harley Keeble there. And the final lap, this move right here secured Hayden Jones the points lead by getting by Garrison. He got an extra couple of points to give him 5 to the good over Ramos and 31.5 to the good over Ryan Norberg, who has significantly shortened the gap to where he was coming into today. The drivers are beginning to get their helmets on now, and Caleb, well, let's go down to you as we are ready to break down the closest Pro X30 Championship fight we could have probably ever imagined when we opened the doors in Orlando.
Thank you, Xander, and I think you really said it best. This is by far the closest championship that we have seen for the past couple of years. This man standing right behind me, if he can keep it perfect today, it could definitely be his championship to win, but his teammate starting right alongside him is definitely going to have really good pace here today. And, you know, Hayden is the favorite going into this one, but Ryan's been so quick, and Garrison and a lot of other drivers as well are going to have a lot of pace. And Diego Ryan, this entire race, he's going to have our KC onboard camera on this one. Back to you guys up in the booth.
That's right, folks. We've got a live onboard angle on Diego Ramos that will be bringing you through the action here, because after a DNF in heat number 1 and an 11th in heat 2, the points leader coming into today, now 5 points back, is going to start from the 17th position. We're going to get to see the PSL Karting BRLR driver try to make up some ground and keep that championship hope alive to win his first ever SKUSA Pro Tour title. Norberg on the pole for an RPG lockout of the front row. He enters 3rd in the points, 31.5 back. And again, we spoke to Hayden Jones. He'll join him on row 1, Rob.
Yeah, row 2, Austin Garrison for Speed Concepts Racing. A lot of momentum mid-season, as I had said before, for Austin Garrison. Jonathan Port, so impressive coming in here this weekend for RPG. One of the fastest drivers on the racetrack. He'll start on the outside of row number 2.
Back to row number 3, ADT and Brandon Carr, who enters today 54 points out of the lead. It's still a shot to move forward with Harley Keeble and Nick Terlecki behind him. Carr actually half a point ahead of Paulie Massimino, and that half a point, Rob, is worth $500 right now.
Yeah, you mentioned Massimino. He'll start on the inside of row number 5 alongside Donovan Bonilla as well. Aiden Levy for Chad Dockett Racing starting in the 11th spot outside Gia Cicero for the Rolison Performance Group.
Back to row number 7, Brian Garcia and Santiago Fernandez. Gabe Belanca and Emma Scarborough on row 8. And there is second place in the points, Diego Ramos. It's a head-to-head fight for him and Hayden Jones, and neither one of them can allow Norberg to go perfect, win the main with the fastest lap, and finish second for Ramos. He'd lose it. Nanji, Alex Feldstein, and Cooper Lyle, the top 20.
Indeed, getting set to go here. Drivers rolling out onto the front straight. There's your final. Drivers ready to roll again. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Time to get things underway. The last Pro X30 race of the year. Who will come away with the championship? Norberg going to start for the pole. Green, 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 and away we go. Working their way down into turn number 1. This is where elbows will be up. Everybody trying to keep on the track. Little drop there. Hayden Jones has gone off. 4 wheels off for Hayden Jones.
Big off for Hayden Jones there to start this one, and we said he needed to stay in the front. Where is Diego Ramos on this opening lap? The PSL driver, I believe, is close. There is Dono Bonilla down the inside, Aiden Levy on the outside. All kinds of chaos here on the first turn. Hayden Jones goes in the dirt, and Ryan Norberg is going to move up to the provisional championship lead. Look at the big send. The PSL driver is not giving up. Ramos trying to charge.
Yeah, he knows he's got to go. It is go time for him. Every time you can get an overtake, he is going to be throwing it in there for sure. Ramos in the PSL karting Burr LR, but out front right now is Ryan Norberg. If Ryan gets the race win with the fastest lap, Hayden Jones needs to finish second. If he finishes second, he'd still win by 1.5 points. He's got to get to P2. Lots of work to be done right now for Hayden Jones as he tries to recover.
You saw the crushed-in front bumper of Alessandro Di Tullio. ADT already getting shoved around a little bit as we get the opening lap complete. Norberg, Garrison, Harley Keeble with a great opening lap to third, and Paulie Massimino, who has been silent through the heats, still has a shot at this title as well. He's up to fourth on the opening lap. Here's DeTulio down the inside on Donovan Bonilla to defend for P7. Terlecki sixth, and Johnny Ports up there as we go side by side with the onboard look from Diego Ramos. At the end of the opening lap, he's up to 12th. Over under here on Brandon Carr. They're fighting for the title as they all lock down to the inside lane.
Yeah, a solid start there for Ramos up to P12, but remember he's 3.7 seconds back right now. Norberg with a bit of a gap here on Austin Garrison. A tough one there for Hayden Jones, as we had said. Look at this move here.
Austin Garrison getting by Ryan Norberg as we kept an eye on Diego Ramos. We should be able to check in and show you how that happened as well, potentially. So a big gap, and also Paulie Massimino up to third. He's gone by Harley Keeble. You talk about trying to pull yourself out of the weeds here. Massimino still with a chance, and it would be Paulie's first ever Pro National Championship. He's never even won a SKUSA Pro Tour main event at X30.
Early laps, things finally settling in after some craziness early on. Garrison, Norberg, Massimino, Keeble, and Ports, the top 5. All the way down into the 15th position, I believe, for Hayden Jones, trying to get himself back up here. He'll be digging every possible corner he can. Jones now up to the 14th spot, 5.5 seconds back, work to be done for Hayden Jones in the number 13.
And that puts him just 2/10 behind Diego Ramos at the line. Those two head-to-head, but with them falling down to 12th and 14th, this championship is wide open. Right now, Norberg second should potentially take it, but it might be as much as Paulie Massimino into the second or third spot in the points, running P3 on the racetrack. There's a big move from Jones. He gets by Aiden Levy. That was for the 13th spot, and I think simultaneously, Diego Ramos might have been able to get around Brian Garcia.
I will say this, Garrison going by Norberg may be the best thing to happen for Hayden Jones. That way there'll be a little bit of a battle up front. If Norberg was able just to pull away and stretch out as the leader, you're not going to get what we've seen throughout the weekend, that battle that brings everybody else back into the pack. Right now, the chaser is Paulie Massimino in that Brandon Jarsa Crack Racing, Mike Doty Racing LN kart machine, the number 40. He is their P3, that's a second back, but Ports, Keeble, Terlecki, Bonilla, DeTulio, Cicero, and Carr cap off the current top 10.
Riding on board once again with Diego Ramos. Behind him there is Hayden Jones. He's going to look to go on Brian Garcia. Garcia going to block down low in 2. Jones looking for an over-under. And again, Brian Garcia not in the points fight, but he is trying to maybe get a good run, a season best for the 96. He is definitely up in the mix right now, but Jones an over-under. Again, Garcia going to defend low, and this is again every lap that Hayden Jones is trapped back here and loses more time in the midfield. Those championship hopes get further and further out the window. Big move down the inside. He'll bring Levy with him and finally get through. But how much time did he lose with just that move, Rob?
And that's it. It was 5.5 seconds back. We'll keep looking at that gap all the way back to Hayden Jones, who's trying to dig his way forward right now. Norberg in that second spot. And here is Ramos as well. He's trying to get himself into the top 10. Currently, I believe, in the 11th spot for Diego Ramos. Got to keep digging as well. He needs to keep getting spots. He's quite a ways back right now. 4/10 behind Carr and a full second behind Gia Cicero in ninth.
He got by Carr in the cell tower. I think we might be able to check that move out potentially also. And there's Hayden Jones. So Jones to 12th, Ramos to 10th. Change in the lead. Ryan Norberg wants it back from his fellow Florida native here. Two of the eldest drivers in the field, the veterans, leading the way in Pro X30 with Norberg and Austin Garrison showing the field around. Paulie Massimino, he's just on the edge, just outside of the draft. He needs a little more fighting, but we don't normally get that with Austin Garrison and Ryan Norberg. They got a lot of respect for each other. They have a lot of respect for the game when it comes to trying to figure out speed. And even though they find themselves on opposite teams, they actually communicate a lot and are very open with each other. They love getting to race against each other because it's always clean, smart, and respectful. And as we're still just in the first quarter of this 20-lap lengthy main where you got to make the tires last, we're seeing a bit of conservative strategy here out of Austin Garrison, and it was the same really for Ryan Norberg. He did not instantly go by AG92, but made the move there, and he's already pulled away.
Yeah, let's have a look at lap times when they put the quarter mark in. Lap 5, a 1:08.9 for Norberg, 1:09.3 for Garrison, and a 1:08.9 as well for Massimino. He's running the lead pace, Massimino is, but now he's got Jonathan Ports coming in behind him. Ports did a 1:08.8. He was the fastest driver in the top 5 last lap. He's working his way forward. Harley Keeble right behind him in the Inter-MS Kart Republic as well. Move Ramos now into the top 10. We talked about that pass on Brandon Carr. He's now into the top 10, 9/10 of a second behind Gia Cicero. So Ramos continues to march his way forward, but Ryan Norberg back to P1 is what everybody's watching here now, trying to see if he can complete a perfect weekend of competition to recover from that disaster at the Spring Nationals. Does he come back and have a perfect Supernats to add yet another title to his stellar resume?
There's a look at the Rawlson Performance Group team watching their two drivers here with the real shots at the championship, Ryan Norberg and Hayden Jones. There you see Mike Rawlson just kind of keeping an eye on his driver, his phone in his hand, looking at the live timing to see how they're doing. Sade's on, and he wants to make sure that they are going to stay in the top 3, as now we've got a new man on the podium. Johnny Ports has gone by Paulie Massimino for P3, and Carly Keeble is right there ready to challenge for 4th as well.
Yeah, it's 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Ports, Massimino, and Keeble not that far back. 3/10 back is Nick Terlecki. He's having a fantastic run right now in the Hoots machine, the number 88. So Terlecki, you see him just off the tail of Hartley Keeble. Not that far back is Bonilla, the Tullio, 6/10 back. Then it's the bigger gap of over a second, a couple seconds almost to Gia Cicero in 9th. And again, she's going to get into a bit of a battle here, I think, with Diego Ramos in the next couple of laps.
Diego Ramos here, we still have that onboard on, and we know that he'll be closing in on Gia Cicero and potentially getting even closer. There's a big move by Nick Terlecki. He gets by, catches Harley Keeble by surprise, and into the top 5. For Nick Terlecki, his point situation much different than the drivers up at the front. Terlecki is fighting to stay inside the top 10 for the SKUSA Circle of Champions. He's only safe right now by about 9 points coming into this main over Donovan Bonilla. So those two are about head-to-head. And now, as they run, Norberg leads the way by 33 points. Massimino would end 2nd. Ramos is back to 3rd. Jones back to 4th. And Brandon Carr back to P5 here at the moment here in the current standings.
Xander, when we talk about that Circle of Champions, the other layer of the storyline here this weekend, if you actually look, Santiago Fernandez, 8th place in the points coming in, trying to get that, but he's down in 19th on the racetrack. Not the result he needs right now, but again, riding back on board with Ramos, who potentially, did he just get that spot, or is he still reeled up here at Cicero?
Closing in on him, so he's closing in on Gia Cicero, but even at a quicker rate, Hayden Jones is closing in on Diego Ramos, and that, I believe, if I check the exact purse breakdown, well, to go from 4th to 3rd would separate you, I believe, from the Supernats entry for this year, and I think about another $1,000 swing in the prize cash pool.
So there's that battle we're seeing right now. That's for the 10th position. Remember, Hayden Jones, who 2nd place finish, regardless of what Norberg would do, would give him the championship. Jones, but that issue getting shuffled off the racetrack. First time out of turn number 2. all the way back outside the top 15. He has fought his way now back up here into the 11th spot, looking to go to P10 to try to get by Ramos. And again, that would be huge. This is the battle of the championship as well. These drivers fighting it out, whether it's for the championship or one of the number 1, 2, or 3 plates. Here comes Jones. Big run down the straightaway. Does he make the move as they come down into the corner? He'll throw it down the inside. And he gets it at the apex. Book it, Hayden Jones into the top 10.
Now, Ramos knows that he and Hayden Jones are heads-up racing. Is he going to send it back on him? No, he's going to give a lot of respect there. He could have tried to throw both of their races into the dumpster, but he decided to say, you know what? Hayden got around me cleanly. I'll let that move go. And now an updated look at the standings here with Norberg now in the lead. This is the difference with the bonus for the fast time of the race and that 20-point swing for getting the lead. Norberg 63 up as Massimino's faded to P6. Ramos is still third, but closer now, and really it'll be almost heads up between Ramos, Hayden Jones, and Paulie Massimino for the final spots on the championship podium. And with that pass back there, about 2 seconds away, I think if they can get by maybe Gia Cicero and ADT, more or less, at least Hayden Jones might be able to claw his way back to P2 in the title fight.
Yeah, it's never over. We know that. A half a second lead right now for Ryan Norberg ahead of Austin Garrison. And indeed, one of the faster drivers out there, Jonathan Ports, as he is rolling right there with Nick Terlecki closing up on him. What a fantastic drive for Nick Terlecki in the Hoach driver development number 88. This is a stellar run for him. And again, we talk all about him trying to get himself up into the top 10. He is 10th in points coming in, trying to hold that spot. I talked about Santiago Fernandez all the way down in 16th right now. He's potentially in trouble of dropping outside of the top 10 with Donovan Bonilla just on the outside as well. Bonilla currently in the 6th spot, so there's a lot of permutations of what could happen in the tail of that Circle of Champions top 10.
Well, Bonilla and DeTulio now are starting to pull away a little bit from Paulie Massimino, so with Donovan Bonilla up to 6th, Terlecki 4th, again, like you said, Fernandez with the big blow on the bubble spot. I'll see if we can try and track how those three are looking right now when it comes down into the current running order while we continue to keep an eye on the top 5 overall. Here's the latest. Look how close it is now with Massimino all the way down to 8th. He falls to 4th in the standings. Ramos is back into 2nd. Jones is 3rd. If Hayden Jones can put just one more car between himself and Diego Ramos, if he can get around his teammate Gia Cicero, he will get an extra $2,000.
So that's what it takes right now. Jones 5.9 seconds behind Norberg, but really only 2 seconds behind Bonilla. So that's the key. Lots of work time to be done still. We're just into the second half of this race now. Remember, pro shifter drivers on the grid and ready to get going as well. They'll wrap up this year's Pro Tour, wrap up today's Pro Show. And again, we'll say a shout out to those of you watching right now on Kart Chaser and on the YouTube channel. Hope you're enjoying the action here today from Newcastle Motorsports Park. 78 degrees trackside. It's been cloud cover all day long with a little bit of precipitation, maybe some light sprinkles, nothing that would have brought the rain tires out, but it definitely dampened up one of our sessions. We're clean and green right now and hoping to do that all the way through to the rest of the day. Norberg, Garrison, Ports, Terlecki, and Keeble, your current top 5. Bonilla runs in 6th, DeTulio 7th. 8th is Massimino. He has fallen outside the top 3 in points with his drop down to P8. Was looking at a potential national number 2 or national number 3 plate. He's down to 8th spot. Cicero 9th, Jones 10th, but Jones now only a half a second back.
Yeah, Hayden Jones is closing in on his teammate here. Here's Terlecki looking for more. Harley Keeble just up the road. So Keeble getting around Terlecki changes things a little bit, but the good news, both of them having the great day they're having. Dono having a decent day. All 3 of them have leapfrog Santi Fernandez and Kai Hunter. Hunter, of course, not here this weekend, was inevitable. He bounced out the bubble, and they're going to fight a bit. This will hurt Terlecki a little. Bonilla and DeTulio going by Nick Terlecki could push him closer to that bubble spot. They were only safe by a little while over Santiago Fernandez, who still runs down in 16th, and he's 23 points more or less back from Terlecki and Bonilla. So as those two change hands, he's still probably outside the bubble spot, and we'll keep the updates coming for the fight to get into the Circle of Champions, and that's the top 10 in the point standings for the Pro X30 and Pro Shifter classes. Get a $3,600 prize package, guaranteed entry and race tires for 2025's Pro Tour, and $1,000 cash going all the way up to the 10K prize to the season champion, and again as well as the 10K bonus, the $3,600 2025 season. The top two in the championship get the Supernats 27 entry and race tires. So we're keeping a tab on it all, but Ryan Norberg holding the gap even. Diego Ramos this weekend, this heartbreak Saturday that has made Sunday so much more difficult. He's trying to manage what he can and still try to bring as much home to the team at PSL Karting as he can. It would be their first title since Ryan Norberg drove for them in a headline single-speed class going all the way back to 2018.
There it is, right? So Ryan Norberg doing everything he needs to do. He has the lead and the fast lap of the race right now, trying to put the full brace of points up on his total to grab another championship. Can he come in here to this race from 5th place in points and come away with another title to add to the resume? We'll see. Right now it's a 0.4 of a second lead over Austin Garrison, who continues his midsummer run of fantastic performances. Ports has been great here this weekend as well. Keeble 4th, Bonilla in the 5th spot. Jones now right there, and there's that battle. Jones right there, going to look to the inside, trying to get by Gia Cicero. He may have got the job done there, and indeed he does. He has got his way into 9th. Hayden Jones 6.6 back. Terlecki would be next up. After him would be Paulie Massimino.
Now here's the thing to keep in mind for Hayden Jones. Ryan Norberg, if Jones were to follow him and finish second, would need the fast lap and the race win. Now he doesn't have the fastest lap. Austin Garrison
he
does.
Just lost it.
Which means that if Hayden Jones can get through this group, which is only about 2 seconds worth of karts up to his teammate Jonathan Ports, and get third, Jones would just barely, by 1.5 points, secure his first ever Pro National title. With 6.5 laps to go, I don't know what may happen here between these two. Austin Garrison's keeping it interesting with Norberg, and if he gets by him, that's a 20-point difference, which could mean that back as far as maybe 4th or 5th for Hayden Jones could seal it.
Yeah.
Ramos as well, only 5 back from Jones. If either one of them can march up this pack, get by Massimino, who's still fighting for his championship fund, get by Bonilla, DeTulio, Keeble, and then their teammate in Jonathan Ports, who holds third, well, things could change again, and that's the interesting part of these longer mains. You've still got plenty of time to recover. Massimino and Terlecki trying to hunt down Bonilla as they go to turn 2.
He's not quite close enough there for the 13 of Hayden Jones. Right, though, on the rear bumper now of Nicholas Terlecki in front of him. You see that big group right there, all in front of Jones. There's a move to the inside. Terlecki is going to get inside of Massimino, so move him back a little bit. Here comes Jones back to the inside. Massimino's going to go back another spot. Cicero gets through as well. Move Massimino back into 10th, but move Jones up into 8th.
And now Diego Ramos closes in on Massimino. Let's see what he does here with the BJR MDR driver. On the bumper, coming up and through the middle chicane, over to the cell tower hairpin. Big lockup, inside move. Diego's got another spot there, riding with the onboard camera. PSL Karting's leading man here in single speed now. He's back in the top 10, and Massimino in 1 lap has gone from 7th to 11th, and he's back to just about 3 points ahead of Brandon Carr. But more importantly, with the move there, Hayden Jones is another spot closer to his teammate Jonathan Ports. The bad news, it's still about 3 seconds away. He right now is Harley Keeble's biggest fan, because if Harley Keeble can get up to Jonathan Ports to fight for the podium and mess with the 15, slow them up a little, well, the number 13, Hayden Jones, still has a chance. And there it is! Big move from Harley. He takes over 3rd, Ports back to 4th.
Indeed, that was what they essentially needed for the Jones camp to see that battle happen. But again, Jones still has to get by a couple of drivers, Terlecki, Bonilla, and DeTulio. He has to go to work quickly here. He's right there now with Nick Terlecki, so he's got to get working here as the laps are starting to wind down. We're into the last handful of circuits around here. Ryan Norberg still up by 0.3 of a second. Garrison still holding on to that purple lap, so he has that fast lap bonus, which Norberg needs to essentially lock himself down. Again, if he wins the race and gets the fast lap, Jones has to finish second to be able to steal this championship away. Right now, everything happening up front here for Norberg. It's going to start coming to crunch time here, though, Xander. Hayden Jones has got to start making the moves. He'll go to the inside, book it in turn number 17. He goes by Nick Terlecki.
This is a tale of 2 incredible comeback drives for both of the Rawlson Performance Group drivers. Ryan Norberg entering the weekend 97.5 points back. Jones getting sent into the dirt and trying to fight back into the field. Look at this. There's the difference. If he can get up to third with Ports now going back by on Harley Keeble, well, if Hayden Jones finishes third and Austin Garrison's fast lap holds, which now Norberg and Garrison are starting to slow, Jones could win the title. Look at this battle. DeTulio and Bonilla going at it.
Yeah, Bonilla just went by DeTulio as well. Right behind there now is Hayden Jones. He'll try to go by DeTulio here. Right there is the battle we have now going for 5th, 6th, and 7th. What a Herculean effort right now here for Jones, who fell all the way back to 17th. He's scrapped his way back up now into the 7th position, but knows he needs very likely to get to 3rd to steal the championship away from Norberg. And indeed, who gets maybe late in the run? Can you find a fast lap here with the tires going away as they are? The car getting as light as it can, burning off that fuel. Do we see someone with some magic at the end to lay that lap down? Right now, again, the pressure continues here for the 13 of Hayden Jones. He's got to get himself up to Jonathan Ports, currently about 2 seconds back.
Now he's 34.5 points back as they run. Let's say Austin Garrison is able to keep Norberg close and maybe beat him. Then he would be only 14.5 points back. If Jones could even just get to 5th, it'd be a 16-point swing. That's one spot right there. ADT off out of turn number 2, and another position for Hayden Jones as the Inter-MS driver's out, and it was with Nick Terlecki, it looks like. Problems for the Hotstede Tony Kart and the Inter-MS Kart Republic. And that all of a sudden, what does that do with the gaps in that pack that Jones was in? It looks like Bonilla is ahead of Jones. So Hayden Jones now is 3 spots back. But he needs now Austin Garrison to get by his teammate to win the title, because Johnny Ports and Harley Keeble are still a little ways up the road. He needs either 3rd as they run, or if Austin Garrison wins the race, he can get to 5th.
I think it's brought Diego Ramos up a couple of more spots as well. He's right there behind, I think, Jones. Here's the lead right now. Again, is the battle for the race win still up for grabs as well. 2 laps to go. 2 laps remaining. Garrison right there trying to win here at the Summer Nationals. There is your lead right now, 34.5 points. Norberg up on Jones. Ramos back into 3rd spot here. Massimino in 4th. A lot of action in the last couple of laps. Jones now up into the 6th position. 8.6 back of Norberg, but about, 2.6 back from Ports. That's where he would need to be to steal this championship away, but that's only if Norberg wins, and Garrison putting the pressure on here over the last couple of circuits.
Austin Garrison doesn't care about the championship at this point. A 2nd place or a win is both safely inside the circle of champions. But if he gets the win, it's $5,000 on top of that. Ryan Norberg needs to keep him behind, because if Hayden can get by Bonilla and Garrison wins, then it would go to Jones by just a couple of points. This is as close as it gets, folks. White flag coming this time by, and a great 2-man driver one-on-one duel. Once again, Norberg in this spot 1 year ago, Rob. We called it on Sunday at the Pro Tour. He went head-to-head with Joe Turney, and in the last couple of turns, Turney got the best of him. Now he gets another shot, this time against Austin Garrison, to hold him off for one more lap.
There's only a couple of places that Garrison can send it to try to find a way by. As you saw right there, Norberg not at all defending coming into turn number 1 and 2. The gap is about 2.5 car lengths, make it 2 car lengths, 1 as they come through the Monza part of the shark fin, holding off the position. He does not defend in scoreboard either. Big run here right now, and again looking further back at the battle as well. Here's the scrap further back.
Jones got to 5th.
Yeah,
Jones has gotten to 5th, so he's too far back from Keeble and Ports without contact. He needs Austin Garrison to make the move right now. If Garrison makes this pass, then it's going to be a different champion. Norberg defending in the cell tower. Only a couple more passes to go here, Rob. Through the horseshoe, over to 14. He's not close enough there, setting up for a crossover. Norberg going to go low to block. Final time down the short chute, turn 15.
Here they come through 16, 17, and 18. Garrison not quite there. Norberg's going to try to get the victory. Will it be enough? Final time across the line, and Norberg wins over Garrison. He wins round 3. Does it give him the championship? It very likely does. Here comes the remainder of the drivers coming across the line.
Whoa! Johnny Ports knocked off the racetrack, but hangs on for the podium over Keeble, and Jones, a P5, is close, but it's just not enough. Flying Ryan Norberg has won another SKUSA Pro Tour championship added on the tally. He was 97.5 points back, and while he didn't get the fast lap of the race, a win there for Ryan Norberg and a 5th for Hayden Jones ends the standings. 18.5 back for Jones, an incredible recovery for Hayden, and what a heartbreak. What an awesome recovery drive for both RPG pilots. And with those two ending 1-2 in the title, they will also clinch the team championship for Mike Rollison, a $5,000 bonus to Rollison Performance Group directly.
Remember, the only one thing, we'll say this is unofficial because we don't know about pushback bumpers. I think obviously Norberg is going to be fine. He was out front. But what about the drivers who finish second, third, fourth? Does anybody have a pushback that could potentially put Hayden Jones back forward? As they stand, without knowing anything about scales, tech, whatever it may be, Norberg has this, but again, we got to see what happens with pushback bumpers. Regardless, a fantastic run for Ryan Norberg. What a weekend. The only thing he didn't get was the fast lap of the race. Came in here and did Ryan Norberg things to be able to come away with a potential number one plate. What a fantastic drive for him. But what about that run from 17th back after getting unceremoniously pushed off the racetrack on the opening lap? Hayden Jones comes all the way back with a fantastic run to P5.
What cannot this guy do? Ryan Norberg is your provisional Pro X30 champion amidst all of the adversity he's had to face this year. And this summer stretch, it hasn't been kind against Cincinnati for the Pro Tour. As the GoPro break, he's had some crashes, some rough runs. And finally, Ryan Norberg is back in victory lane. And more importantly, $10,000, a Supernats entry the following season. And as long as all the penalties are good and the scale rolls, he'll be our provisional and then official champion. Dave?
Yeah, Ryan, I know you've hated having that number 2 plate on this go-kart, and you don't have to have it on there anymore. Congratulations.
Thank you. I really didn't think we had a shot at it this week. I didn't even bother really looking at all the scenarios because I knew that my only goal at winning anything is just to go out and win. And so I knew that was what we had to do, and from qualifying on, that was mentality, is just go win and let, whatever else happens, happen. So right now, we had an uphill battle, but it seems like it worked.
Did that take the pressure off a little bit to not have to worry about the championship, go out and just do Ryan Norberg things?
A little bit, but the goal is the championship in the end. The race wins are nice, but nobody really remembers the race wins. They remember the championship. So for me, it was really about, trying as best as we could. We had a big fight, obviously the DNF and then the GoPro, penalty as well. Just it set us back a lot. And so, we had a really dominant kart all year. We should have won every final. We qualified pole at every race. We pretty much won every heat race. So, we've had the kart to beat, and I just wanted to make sure it was the one on the top of the podium.
A huge prize pool. I think the number continues to be said $10,000. What are you going to do with that?
Probably spend it on some of my, my stuff back in my academy back home. That's where a lot of my money goes these days. But yeah, it's a nice little check there.
Ryan Norberg putting his money back into karting. Why would you expect anything less? The champion, the winner today, Ryan Norberg.
Be chatting with a couple more of the Pro X30s before we shift gears to Pro Shifter, but let's take a look back at that Coastal Link custom printing race recap. Rob and myself to break things down of how Ryan was able to get it done. Entered the weekend 97.5 points back, entered today 31.5 back. He ends on top by just a mere 18.5 points. First, this was a critical moment. Hayden Jones on the outside trying to hang on, Harley Keeble low, and there was just nowhere to go. And again, the off-camber line coming out of turn number 2, well, it just kind of pulled Hayden off the racetrack, and well, he just went straight backwards with the whole field lined up. Here's on board the championship points leader coming into the weekend, Diego Ramos, P2 into this main from 17th on the grid, trying to make up spots, and he was going right to work right off the bat there, trying to climb through the field here, Rob.
Yeah, you got to give it up for him. He did a tremendous job getting a lot of spots early, fighting his way up eventually into the top 10. But again, the fight and the battle and really the spotlight was on Hayden Jones as he was working his way back forward, coming all the way from outside the top 15, just kept methodically working his way forward. The same goes for Ramos as well, making a good pass there to get by Brandon Carr to get himself into the top 10. We did see a little bit of action up front. Austin Garrison took it to Norberg at the time, but Norberg was able to come back and take that lead again, and from there really was not headed. Here's the battle again. You just saw Ramos losing that spot to the 13 of Hayden Jones. Donovan Bonilla was well able to get by Nicholas Terlecki, who had a fantastic run midway through. We did see Alessandro Di Tullio get in there as well later in that race, though he would be on the sidelines. And then that fight again, there's Gia Cicero. She was running there in the 9th spot. Jones eventually able to get by there. One of the drivers that fell down the field quite a bit was Paulie Massimino. Great start, but it didn't finish the way he wanted.
Yeah, for a minute there, it looked really good for Paulie to try and get his first national title. And then even for a moment here, as the battle began to kick off for third between Harley Keeble and Johnny Ports, as Hayden Jones continued to climb up the field, we thought there might be a chance that he could get there. And then the next lap, I believe, while we were watching the leaders up the road, ADT and Nick Terlecki collided back at turn number 2, sent DeTulio all the way behind the barrier separating the track. Terlecki out as well. And Norberg and Garrison, a clean fight, a close match. But ultimately, Ryan Norberg gets to turn that number 2 plate to a number 1 plate by doing Ryan Norberg things and winning the main event. $10,000, Supernats paid for 2025. He ain't retiring yet, Rob.
No.
He's got to come back.
Listen, Xander, I like it when it's done in style. You know what I mean? There are times championships where guys have backed in a little bit or didn't have the big run, but they were able to get the numbers they needed for a reason. This was not a backed-in championship. This guy made it happen.
Well, let's talk about the guy that gave him everything he could fight for and then some. Austin Garrison, a clean fight, a close run. He's standing with Dave.
Yeah, we love a good, clean fight. And Austin Garrison, you gave Ryan Norberg a heck of a one, but didn't quite get there. What did you need to get Ryan that you didn't have?
It's kind of tough to go and say. He had a little bit more bottom than I did, and our top was about the same. I was pushing it absolutely as hard as I can every single lap. We got the go-kart to handle a lot better than what it was yesterday, and we were struggling a little bit in the heat races. And we put all of our heads together and made a pretty big adjustment for coming into today's main event. But my go-kart felt good the first 4 or 5 laps. He didn't pull away too much, and I just pushed as hard as I possibly could. Just maybe in the last couple of laps do a block a little bit harder so I can get it just a little bit closer. Maybe make a move out in the back. But I just there was too big of a gap for he's looking over his shoulder to see where he needs to go and block, and he didn't really have to. So he's able to go and keep his line.
Austin Garrison, it was a valiant effort, but it came up a little bit short. Still an entertaining fight.
And still in the money, both in the championship, and he'll get a little prize money for the podium today. We'll take a moment here, folks, with Austin Garrison stepping off to the side. There's a look at the PSL Karting Bureau to Diego Ramos. One heck of a charge up the order here to get to where he landed in that main event. And, of course, it was able to at least bring him to P3 in the standings. He ends up just behind Jones. The difference there, 5,000 to Jones, 3,000 to Ramos, 2,000. Brandon Carr on the last couple laps as he charged back up the boards. Massimino faded down. That difference, based on how they provisionally crossed the line, swung 4th and 5th in the standings and dropped Massimino back to P5. Now, with that said, Pro X30 is wrapped up. So we're going to take a look back as we transition to Pro Shifter, and let's see how we've set the season so far. Beginning with our Pro Shifter main event back from Orlando. Here's your Coastal Link custom printing recap from our first round of the season. Danny Formal and Marin Kremers made the front row, but it was Mateus Morgado. Watch him on the start already in the red, the 62, moving up the grid, making moves from 4th at the end of the opening couple corners, then to 3rd on Kyle Wick, then to 2nd on Marin Kremers to be able to get through up to position number 2. And then as he started to hunt down the big guy, well, there was controversy further back. Kyle Wick with a mechanical failure right off the bat, the number 2 plate, trying to repeat and get one spot better in the title. Well, it got a lot harder right off the start of the season. His teammate Jacob Gulick and the kid Jay Irwin battling with Marin Kremers, who, as we came to find out, had some engine issues and was just trying to hang on for dear life on the podium. Ultimately, Gulick, another move down the inside, and Marian continuing to get the elbows out and trying to stay. We had to slow this down this moment right here. Marin Kremers hanging on the side of Jacob Gulick right at the right rear tire. He ends up in the wall. Gulick falls back to 4th, and Jay Irwin avoids the pair and is able to work his way up to 3rd. And then this last lap, this was crazy. The big guy, Danny Formal, leading the entire race. Morgado keeping him honest. And after 24 and a half grueling laps, one little bobble and a little bit of just elbow grease going by, Morgado got the lead. Formal tried to make one last bonsai move, but he just couldn't quite get there. And it was Mateus Morgado stealing the win in sensational fashion on the final lap in Orlando and getting the extra 20 points and the money for the round 1 win. Then we go back to the second round of the season a couple of months later at Cincinnati, and Kyle Wick was quick to turn his luck around with a hole shot But A.J. Myers, after kind of riding under the radar in Orlando, he was phenomenal in Cincinnati, and he got the lead by the end of not even the first lap, going by Kyle Wick there. Once again, though, Mateus Morgado, so incredible on Sunday, charging through the field for the second main in the row, and then here he was able to get down the inside on lap number 7 on A.J. Myers to take over the lead. His teammate, though, who had that phenomenal win, Jay Irwin, had a mechanical failure. That dropped him down the points and opened up the door for these three to potentially make up some ground. Billy Musgrave was having a great day until it wasn't a great day. Mechanical failure took him out of the top 5, kept Kyle Wick in 3rd and Gavin Bailiff pressuring for 4th. But on the final lap, it was a duel for the second race in a row on the last lap when the tires were gone and the drivers were tired. Morgado, one little wiggle, forced him to defend from A.J. Myers as he went down to the low side, and he was able to just protect in the last couple hairpins. The Magic Man said, "I'll remember that for next time, but I'm not going to knock him out of the way for the win. I wanted to beat him cleanly." And while A.J. was unfortunately P2 on Sunday with Morgado sweeping the main events, his good runs through the heat races have kept this a close points fight. We're down on the grid with some pre-race coverage to talk to some of our pro shifter drivers as well. So let's go down to Dave, and he'll be able to chat with a couple of the superstars that are ready.
I won't quite be able to chat with them because they're already in the office, but we've got the two front runners in the championship starting side by side. You couldn't script it any better. We've got A.J. Myers starting on the pole position on the outside. But we've got a couple of spoilers in the second row that will be trying to take some points away from them. We've got Martin Kremers, of course, coming over with the factory Tony Kart here with RPG. And on the outside of row 2 is Billy Musgrave. But the real battle is going to be into turn 1. Who can get the better start, A.J. Myers or Mateus Morgado?
Thank you, Dave. Here, once again, the drivers are ready. We'll take a look at how they lined the grid and what made up the grid here based on how they've ran through the heat highlights yesterday. Let's go back to Saturday. With qualifying, it was Marcus Kijak being able to get the pole, but the first heat, we were right off the bat battling through the entire top 10. Marin Kremers in his return to the seat here was trying to stay inside the top 5, and Kijak, along with A.J. Myers and Billy Musgrave, put on one heck of a battle in the opening heat race with Mateus Morgado looking on. And late in the going, Morgado was able to sneak by Musgrave for 3rd. And while A.J. was able to drive away and get the heat race victory, Morgado minimized the damage with a 3rd place run and kept a healthy points lead. Then heat 2, this was crazy. Down into the first hairpin, Marcus Kijak gets shoved up on top of A.J. Myers, spun, and in front of the field, Jay Irwin, Charlie Steins, Liam Jones, and a ton of karts collected and taken out in the first corner. A.J. said just off camera while you were focused there, he had to reach back, pull his bumper off of his right rear tire, and hang on. This was on board Alan Isambard with all the chaos that was going on around him. Jacob Gulick in front of him, and then right here, the pass for the lead. Morgado getting by on A.J. Myers with Marin Kremers, Billy Musgrave, and Vincenzo Saracino having a career best weekend on the SKUSA Pro Tour, running inside the top 5 comfortably. But Morgado was really just the best of them all up front. He slowly pulled that gap to over a second. He cruised to the heat race victory. AJ still was able to make up a net gain by finishing P2 and holding off Kremers. And there was a crazy moment as Michael Avancino went wide there coming to the line. The SuperKarts USA officials are ready to fire the engines here momentarily. This race will be going green at 4:15. So while they're standing by, Rob Howden and I will take one quick commercial break. And after this, we'll be ready to send them off for the final time in 2024. Are you ready to get behind the wheel? From Formula One to NASCAR and IndyCar, all the pros start here. For more information, check us out online at mcckarting.com or call us and go racing today.
This is Henry. Henry feels sad.
Henry feels sad because it's time for his next big race and his go-kart is in bits. Henry doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing is the United States' #1 shop for all of your karting equipment needs. Henry also doesn't know that Acceleration Kart Racing can deliver anything from tires to race suits and even wheels directly to your front door or to the racetrack itself, quickly and efficiently, with tech support available 6 days a week. Poor Henry doesn't even know that Acceleration Kart Racing offers free shipping to mainland USA on selected product if you spend $200 or more. Do yourself a favor. Go to accelerationkarting.com and make sure that you are never left stuck on the pre-grid with Henry. Be smart and don't be like Henry.
Welcome back to Newcastle Motorsports Park here for the Pro Shifter main event, the second of our 2 Pro finals. We just had a fantastic barn burner in Pro X30. And as we get set to lay the foundation here for Pro Shifter, they've just got the engines fired, and we've got 2 major storylines. First, Marin Kremers has had the craziest travel schedule of anyone that I can think of to get to a SKUSA Pro Tour in recent memory. First, he flew from Amsterdam here to Newcastle Motorsports Park last weekend to do testing with Rolison Performance Group. Then, on Monday, had to fly from Indiana back over to Naples, Italy. Then drove 4 hours to Val Vibrata to do some testing with the Tony Kart factory team, his full-time job for 2024. After the testing, then drove back to Naples, flew out of Cologne at midnight, drove to Amsterdam, flew out at midnight, had a connection in Amsterdam, flew to Indiana, was hoping to make happy hour, got delayed in Detroit, and eventually he made it here with no practice on the week, just testing the week before, and literally globe-trotting over the last 7 days. And then in the first session, well, he went first in warm-up Saturday morning and qualified third. He rolls off from P3 as they fire off as well a super sub here. Danny Formal, he was highly touted as his Sodi Racing USA debut set for this weekend, but he injured his rib on Thursday on a new tire run in the new section, the shark fin. The rib injury, as he said, after 21 years of karting, he'd never worn a rib protector. He'd never had a broken rib or a rib injury, but a hairline fracture sidelined him from this event. And now Alan Isambard has stepped in and is actually doing a fantastic job rolling with the punches to start inside the top 10. Here's a look at the grid after all those heats yesterday and those 2 quick footnotes. AJ Myers and Mateus Morgado on row number 1. Marin Kremers, his final day, his final session for the next 365 days, that where he gets to sport the number 1 plate on the inside of row 2 alongside the All-American badass, Billy Musgrave.
A couple really impressive young drivers on row number 3. Talon Yackel, that privateer driver, the number 24, starting 5th alongside him. From Ron White Racing on the CRG, Michael Avancino coming over from California. He's been great all weekend long. Isambard, we talked about, great job so far. He'll start 7th inside of row 4. Outside, Kyle Wick. It's been a rough journey. Did not make it into Superpole qualifying. He's had to work all weekend long to get himself into the outside of row number 4 for the start of the main event.
Back on row 5, Jacob Gulick starts on the inside alongside Trinity Karting Group's Gavin Bailiff. Gulick trying to stay in the 3rd position in the championship. Bailiff trying to race his way into the top 10 in the Circle of Champions with Hunter Pickett and Ian Quinn back on row 6. Marcus Kajak and Justin White back on row number 7.
Yeah, row number 8, Remo Ruscitti on the inside of the 92 Catalyst machine, and then the outside, one of the really impressive performers from Superpole qualifying. Annie Rule in the Magic Kart had some issues. She'll start on the outside of row number 8. Row number 9 will have the impressive young 16-year-old Jay Irwin for PSL starting on the inside of that row. Samuel Dicker on the outside, the Australian for TKG, and to wrap up the top 20, Daniel Fellows on the inside and Filip Nimkevich on the outside of row number 10.
And if you've been following all year, you wouldn't expect a lot more rows after the first 10. Well, guess what, folks? It's the biggest Pro Shifter field since 2016, with rows going all the way back to the 18th position as you saw them flutter on by. 35 total drivers, a massive field with a massive prize purse on the line for the race, for the championship, just to get into the top 10 in the point standings. And Rob, there's no better race for you to come back here and join us on the Pro Tour. And we've got a title fight with 58.5 points separating the first and second place drivers in the championship, and an all-out dogfight from 3rd to 7th with a $2,000 swing in the points as well, as there is Tom Kutcher, series owner, making sure that they are all ready here as he well lets everybody know he is so proud to have this many here. And his favorite class, the gearbox drivers, he wanted to be the one to be able to line them for the final time of the year and get us ready to go green.
Xander, great to be back with you guys here at Kart Chaser. Great to be back at the SuperKarts US event. Always a treat to be able to work with you. We've been doing this for a number of years, and you see Tom working his way down with the remainder of this field. 35 strong in the Pro Shifter category. We got obviously a battle for the race win here at the Summer Nats, but that championship is definitely up for grabs. Mateus Morgado looking to try to see if he can't get it all done. This is going to be a heck of a battle to wrap things up here, folks. Again, 20 laps of racing. As just the tail of the field kind of working their way in the wrong spots on the grid. They'll try to get these guys positioned correctly, and then we will go green flag racing. 20 laps, as I said, drivers lining up to get things underway. Field set. I believe we're going to the flags right now with Aaron Likens. The tail of the field just getting themselves into position. A little bit of a wait here. They're not going to be liking this. Everybody up front not liking it. The heat's going to start to build up in the engine. The Billy Musgrave's actually going to pull off a little bit and roll around. One more lap around. And said, hey, listen, we can't sit here for that long. That's one of the things about these particular engines. They don't have the water pump, so you got it. Once you're sitting there the longest time, they're going to heat up, and you got to give them one more time around the track.
And that was a veteran kind of speaking for the pits right there. Billy Musgrave, I think, one of the elder statesmen in the Pro Shifter category. We were talking during the warm-up session earlier today around noon that Musgrave has a win here going all the way back, I believe, to 2015. So a long way back to when the last time Billy Musgrave visited Victory Lane at Newcastle Motorsports Park. He's been a mainstay, and as we look at the back couple rows here, this gives us an opportunity to shed some light on the rest of our 35 starters. Kick it off with Cooper Becklin, hot off that USF Pro 2000 run at the Honda Indy Grand Prix in Toronto a couple weeks ago, and Vincenzo Saraceno on the outside with Josh Conker and Jared Ramnarine on row 12.
Yeah, you go back to row 13 with Andrew Byrne and Charlie Steins, row 14 Eli Fox and Liam Jones, row 15 Matthew McCoy and Ansel Bardovin.
Back to Mohamed Karaman on the factory kart, his Pro Tour debut. The same for Cameron Reed in the Pro Shifter category on row 16. David Williams, and also his first Pro Tour start. Now keep an eye on Mario Gill there on the Catalyst Driver Development at Talcart. He was one of the fastest drivers through the practice runs at the Supernats last year and was well inside the main event. He rolls off from the tail end of the grid, and of course Angel Barroso will cap off our 35 driver field. So now a slow lap allowing the drivers to reset, cool the engines back off, and again, with a couple of rookies joining the grid and a massive grid, the responsibility is on the drivers further back to try and get into their box as quick as possible. Now they should all know where they are, and hopefully we can get it on this time. So as the grandstands are lined and we are watching with a packed mound, there are people all around the racetrack trying to find the best vantage point to watch this main event start, and we'll bring the drivers into the boxes once again. AJ Myers on the inside, on the pole here for this main event. He enters the day 58.5 backs from Mateus Morgado. Even if he wins and gets the fastest lap of the race, that's only a 30-point difference to second place. He needs Morgado to fade back to maybe fourth or fifth. So with Jacob Gulick in third, Kyle Wick fourth, Hunter Pickett fifth, those three can have a close fight, but it'll take a lot for any of them to come anywhere close to the leaders. Here we go. For the last time, it looks good. There's the cross flags from the back of the grid, and we go to it, Rob.
Aaron Likens waiting for the flag, and we are green, green, green. The race down into turn number one, and the first checkbox there, a whole shot for A.J. Myers. A couple drivers diving down to the inside. Billy Musgrave gets a good run as well. He'll go to P3. Front 3 or 4 drivers cleaning down into the shark fin for the first time. Morgado cleanly away from the outside of the front row. He'll go to P2. Right there, as we said, is Billy Musgrave. Oh, he's going to work quickly here on Morgado, who stays down to the bottom of the racetrack, holding the spot. Marian Kremers out to a good lead as well. Out of the scoreboard, Kremers goes P4.
Marian Kremers here knows, because he missed Cincinnati, that no matter what he does in the points, he doesn't get to taste the prize structure because he didn't make it to all 3 rounds. So he's just going for the overall race day purse. And that means that he's got nothing to lose. Bring the steering wheel or the checkered flag home. As for A.J. Myers, he's got to get away, and he's got to hope that the drivers behind apply some pressure to Mateus Morgado. But it's a long 20 laps around Newcastle Motorsports Park as we come to put one down. Musgrave all over Morgado, and the entire field has survived the opening lap. One down, 19 to go. The Magic Man leads doing exactly what he needs to do right now to try and keep his championship hopes alive.
Yeah, here comes the move a little further back. I think that's going to be Kyle Wick thinking about the inside of Kremers. Can't quite do it. Look at this. Musgrave trying around the outside. Some contact. They'll go 2 or 3 wide coming out of the corner. Still a spot there. Musgrave holds on. No changes whatsoever, but it got close. Oh, contact between Morgado and Myers. Myers can't believe it. He's off the racetrack.
He's
Done.
broken. Myers is out. Mateus Morgado on lap 2 into the side of the Magic Man, and the championship goes up in smoke for AJ Myers. Mateus Morgado, look at the damage to the side of the 28. Morgado now trying to hang on. The PSL Barrel Art driver now into 3rd, and it's a new lead as that has completely shaken up the field and the title fight.
Wow, big move to the inside. That's where he passed him yesterday. Tried to do it again here today in the main event. It did not work. More contact. I think Myers probably said, you're not going to do that. He pinches down. So it's shaking everything up front right now. They'll work their way out of the corner. Let's have a look at what the top 5 looks like when they come out of turn number 17 and turn number 18. What a start. Billy Musgrave's going to take it over. Kyle Wick didn't even make the Super Bowl qualify. He goes to P2.
Talon Yockel, the privateer, just got by the former world champ, former 2-time Pro Tour champ in Maureen Kremers, but Kremers is right back on the inside. Here comes Michael Avancino and Alan Isambard on the 55 Sodi. They'll all get by on Yockel, but it was a good moment for a second as he drops in line in front of Ian Quinn and Jay Irwin. So Morgado now by himself in 3rd. Race control, I'm sure, will be taking a long look at that as AJ Myers is headed into the scale house, and with the damage and the inability to continue, does that open the door for the GFC boys to close up? Well, it would be a long shot. Again, he was at least about 140 points to the good over Jacob Gulick going into it, but we'll have the calculators going, and that could be a big swing in the championship. Here is back to the action on track, though. Musgrave leading over Kyle Wick.
Yeah, those two drivers stretching away here right now. Wick in the factory cart, and rather Wick in the GFC, Musgrave in the factory cart. They've got themselves a nice little advantage. Look at that, all the way back to Mateus Morgado. That gap right now between 2nd and 3rd significant. Morgado holds on to 3rd. Kremers, I believe, potentially able to get back by. We saw that Yockel made a move up there, but Michael Avancino's the driver who's moved his way up into P5. What a great run for the Californian, the Ron White Racing CRG driver, Avancino to P5. Isambard up into 6th spot. Ian Quinn up into 7th. Yockel 8th, Irwin 9th, Gulick 10th.
Look at that slow-mo instant replay. You saw Myers kind of staying on the high side, but Morgado sent it in deep here. I mean, he just kind of, as they touched wheels right at the apex, it took them both wide. I don't know how you call that. Again, from our angle, not really the best vantage point, but that's what ultimately has sidelined AJ Myers and given Mateus Morgado a bit of breathing room now as we keep an eye on everything going on. Working lap number 4, Kyle Wick, the number 2 plate, with a potential opportunity to keep that same plate and increase his prize package, because he entered today 4th in the point standings behind his teammate in Gulick, behind this guy in Mateus Morgado, and behind AJ Myers. And who knows, again, what race control might be thinking as well for the 62.
Yeah, again, you saw that pass. He went down to the inside. He wasn't anywhere close to the apex. He shot well by it into the side of AJ Myers. So I guarantee, we've looked at some replays. You guarantee a lot of replays and video is going to be looked at before this is all said and done. What it has done is put Billy Musgrave out front. He leads now by 0.2 of a second. Couple of cart lengths there. They got a big gap. Marian Kremers has been able to work his way up to the 4th spot, as we know. Is he catching up to Morgado? Not as of yet, but Avancino right there. What a great run for Michael Avancino here now, up into the 5th position. Contact.
The teammates, Sam Dicker, Gavin Bailiff together.
Oh, no. Trinity Karting Group teammates are not going to like that one. Contact.
There is a look at the team across the way going, how in the world did that just happen? Their two main bullets colliding here in the main event. Now let's go back to the on-track action. Kyle Wick chasing down Billy Musgrave. The graphics will show it momentarily, but Kyle Wick right now with AJ Myers down to 34th, and assuming there's no DQs, that could put Wick in contention to potentially steal 2nd in the points. As they run, he finds himself 9 back from AJ Myers, which means he needs to win this race and or get the fast lap of the session from now to the end and finish P2, and he might get himself an extra $2,000 and a Supernats entry for this year.
We also talked to Billy Musgrave earlier in the weekend. He talking about how this program's really coming together. The engine package, everything they're doing is coming together right now. They're happy with the chassis. Of course, they continue to work on that factory kart machine. One of the benefits of the driver running it being the R&D man himself. So they continue to work on getting that the way he wants to be. What a huge victory this would be for Billy Musgrave if he can come home as a winner here at the Summer Nationals in the Pro Shifter category. They're pulling away. They got 1.5 seconds on Morgado, but Morgado has almost 2 seconds on Marian Kremers, who again has Michael Avancino right there, as well as Alan Isambard.
So as they go through the 90s here, keep an eye on Jacob Gulick as well. This isn't over for him. Back in the 10th spot, looking at the points calculator for Gulick. I mean, he needs a little more to kind of keep touch with Kyle Wick. Otherwise, he'll fall out of the championship top 3. There's a look at the current running. Talon Yockel, with his great performance right now, might be as high as inside the top 5 with this impressive performance.
One of the interesting things on the weekend as well, some of the drivers trying to work their way back up into the top 10. We've talked a lot about that. You got Vincenzo Saraceno back in 13th position. He's running outside the top 10 right now. And then you got Gavin Bailiff at 8th. He just DNF'd, so he's going to fall to the tail of the field. Will not be a good run for Bailiff, but he may just sneak in still as a number of drivers, of course, fighting further back.
Quite a few, and more out here in the infield. Jared Ramnarayan is out, and one more with him in the infield of the racetrack. So we've lost a couple. Looks like Ramnarayan and potentially Angel Barroso on the CRG. Also there is Andrew Byrne on the Ital kart. So a few more have gone to the wayside, but there is a look. How about this for the race? Now, we don't know what's going to happen in the officiating box. Kremers and Isambard, a great fight for 4th, but Morgado is closing in on the top 2. Musgrave and Wick, they've got company on the way.
Indeed they do. Morgado was 1.5 back a couple of laps ago. Call it 1.1 seconds back down from Musgrave, and only about 0.8 of a second back of Wick. So indeed these front 2 drivers putting together good laps here midway through this race, but Morgado, the PSL karting Birel Art driver, is on the way forward.
Mateus Morgado right now trying to secure one major prize, and this year, if it all holds here to the end, not only would it be a major championship, it would be his 2nd, technically his 3rd. He started off the SKUSA Winter Series, won the title in a head-to-head fight against the big guy, Danny Formal. He swept the Rock Florida Winter Tour. He has been sensational in the SKUSA Pro Tour. No one has had a better average finish or run in the main events than Mateus Morgado, and it's only his 1st season here in the U.S. competing in Pro Shifter. Now, back to the midfield. Look at this fight. Kremers has Isambard, but Michael Avancino, Talon Yockel, and Jay Irwin are all right together.
Yeah, this is some great racing here from 4th on back. We say 4th all the way back to really almost 9th position. Jacob Gulick only about 7/10 behind Jay Irwin as well, so you can see him kind of closing up in the back there. Remember, he's fighting in for a potential number 2, number 3 plate. Gulick came in here in that 3rd spot. Kyle Wick trying to jump over top of him as well. So depending, again, how things happen, contact with your point leader into the driver who is battling for the championship over in the shark fin. Again, we'll see what happens when the race direction crew sits down and has a look at that, because this could change the overall results with the contact between Morgado and Myers. Otherwise, Musgrave and Wick, the full benefactors of that contact, they were able to keep it down to the apex in that corner and come out P1 and P2. Musgrave continues to lead. 0.4 of a second was the gap last time by, and it looks like he's stretching it just a little bit here right now. Wick now falling more into the clutches of Morgado, as indeed now 0.570.
Problems for Josh Conker. The JMF Racing factory kart heads for pit lane. So what a big switch up there as Jacob Gulick has gone around Jay Irwin, and we've got problems for another one of the Ital karts. I think this one might have been maybe Remo Ruschetti just pulled into the back of the grid, but up front, fight for the lead and for 2nd as well. Morgado closing in on Kyle Wick here. He's down to within a car length away, right at the halfway mark here in this final.
That's it. Morgado has been closing. We've talked about that throughout the entire little bit here. Got 0.7 of a second over the last, I think, 3 laps. He was 1.5 back, 1.1 back. and he's now only 0.3 of a second back. We don't even need to measure it with time anymore. You can visually see it's a kart length right now for Morgado to set up to try to make a move to get to the inside of Wick somewhere to potentially take over P2.
And you can see there at the back of the frame as well, we've got eyes kind of all around. A fight for second, and then a massive gaggle led by Marin Kremers for fourth on back to about maybe 11th or 12th. Quinn, Yockel, Irwin all battling it out further back. Check this out between these younger drivers going at it. Wick right there looking back. He is pointing, I believe, Morgado by. He's going to let him go and let him go try to race with Billy Musgrave. Classy move from Kyle Wick there, and a smart move to maybe keep him in the hunt for the win.
We'll see how it all plays out right now. He wasn't able to close up on Musgrave, and so what do? You let someone else run him down and potentially slow things up and to try to find a way back by. Here's that battle that Xander was talking about. Marian Kremers leading that next group. Alan Isambard has worked his way up into fifth. What a great drive here for Isambard on the Sodi kart, able to get by Michael Avancino, who continues to run there in sixth spot. Gulick seventh, Irwin eighth, Yockel ninth, and Ian Quinn now up into the top 10.
Ian Quinn on another consistent run on the top half of a Pro Shifter field, and only his real second full season. It has been a great performance for the PSO karting group in general in the 2024 Pro Tour. Irwin getting a podium, Quinn with some top 5s and top 10s, and all three of their drivers right now in the top 10, or three of their drivers, they have more in the top 10 overall. Quinn right there with Talon Yockel looking for 9th, and Jacob Gulick, teammate to Kyle Wick here, trying to apply some pressure still to Michael Avancino just up the road. All drivers in this pack here kind of holding station with each other at this midpoint of the race. Now we're going to see some battling. Gulick and Wick going at it. They make contact, or Gulick and Avancino going at it, and they both go wide.
Irwin able to get through.
Irwin, Yockel, and Ian Quinn go through, and Avancino says that's enough of that, Jacob. He gives him the bumper, moves him out of the way.
Yeah, they did not like that little connection over in turn number 2, did they? Listen, it's going to be really big for Ian Quinn as well. Remember, he's 14th in points coming in. Potential to maybe move up into the top 10. He'll need the best result he can possibly get here in round number 3 of the main event here at the Summer Nationals. This is the battle we're seeing right now for 4th position. You never know. That could be for a podium if a call comes down against Morgado after the contact with he and Myers. This could be for the 3rd spot on the podium. Kremers versus Isambard, 4th and 5th. And Avancino, we talked about the fact he got shuffled back. I think that moves Irwin now up likely into 6th spot. Yockel to 7th and Quinn to 8th.
And that is going to majorly change the potential for the final spot in the top 5 on the points, and where the cash prizes start to ramp up. Here's a move inside the top 5 on the track. Isambard trying to get by Marin Kremers, who is making that RPG. Kozik really wide, and he sends him off the racetrack. Marin Kremers moving over, and that could potentially also get the eyes of race control. And Jay Irwin gets another spot, keeping his nose clean and avoiding all this chaos.
Yeah, what a fantastic save, too, for Isambard off the racetrack, staying on the throttle to come back on. Look at him right there. He's working his way up. He's trying to hold, actually, off the number 3 of Gulick right now, so do whatever he can. Look at all these guys coming up. Annie Rules come up into the fight there as well. There's a bunch of them trying to scrap their way into the top 10.
Yeah, look at that here. Hunter Pickett, Annie Rule catching up to this group. Avancino now once again behind Jacob Gulick. Those two have already had a run-in. The longer race here, the hot temperatures and a bit of that waiting, I'm sure all kind of combining for some drivers a bit on the edge with each other, and definitely showing their emotions, good and bad, on the racetrack so far.
Let's see if Isambard can press that reset button and get working his way forward again. He's in the 8th spot. He's about a second and a half behind Ian Quinn right now, but remember, he was battling big time with Marian Kremers to potentially go to 4th, which could be actually a 3rd spot finish. You never know how things play out as they get to the inside. That was a little look to the bottom there as Hunter Pickett, trying to find a way by Avancino. They raced together a lot over in California, so good running there. Again, he tried to make the move to the inside, wasn't quite there enough, didn't force the issue, and then Annie Rule right there to try to pick up the pieces.
Well, let's take a look at this battle, but also keep our eyes on the gaps on the left side of the screen as we're headed this time by to 6 laps to go. Here's Pickett again. He needs to make up some spots after a not-so-great start for the 36 to climb his way back into the top 5. Jay Irwin now has moved into 5th in the point standings. Jacob Gulick still 4th, Wick 3rd, and Myers still hanging on to 2nd. All, again, provisional with Alan Isambard on screen right there. Here's a look at the championship points leader, trying to chase down Billy Musgrave, who is looking for his first SKUSA Pro Tour win since Orlando of 2023. He got a big major win just 2 weeks ago. Can he sweep all of our Kart Chaser Nationals for the month of July? It would be major for the American operation, but he just went really wide there in the shark fin, and it looked like Morgado closed a little.
Yeah, both those drivers turning 105.8s last time by. In fact, Musgrave was a little bit quicker, but a minor bobble there, as you had said. Here comes that battle further back with Kremers now running in fourth spot. Behind him now is Jay Irwin, Talon Yockel right there as well. Ian Quinn trying to find a way by Yockel. So a bunch of the young guns here running just outside the top four.
How many times are we going to see the Red Army boys really turn up the wick here late in these main events, being able to manage the tires here right now? Jay Irwin, Ian Quinn, they're marching up in that middle of the top 10 fight. Talon Yockel hanging right with him on the privateer entry, just a father and son pitting out of the back of their small pickup truck and trailer, having a blast right now and running inside the top 10 comfortably in only their third Pro Shifter season. But Mateus Morgado, it's a repeat of Orlando. The Jaws theme starting to play. The 62 hunting down, this time, Billy Musgrave on the factory cart as they head for the infield corner with 4.5 laps to go. Can the All-American factory cart driver, the Southern California native, hold on against the former world champ, the Brazilian and PSL Karting's leading man?
That is it, the final quarter of the race in front of us now. It'll be 4 to go when they get back to start finish. Morgado as close as he's been, within a couple of tenths of a second now, but still good lap times coming out of Billy Musgrave. Just that minor little bobble that he had over in the shark fin, allowing Morgado to close back up. Musgrave trying to put the laps down he needs to keep that cushion. That 3 or 4 cart length gap will allow him to defend on any kind of big move late in this race. Again, 4 laps when they get back around. Musgrave and Morgado 1 and 2. Wick still by himself in third. Kremers, Irwin, Yockel, and Quinn right there. Isambard trying to get himself back, although he's got Jacob Gulick pressuring him from the tail as well.
Rob, it's only fitting that these extra couple of laps here on the Pro Tour have provided us kind of mano-a-mano duels to end the first 2 rounds. It looks like it's shaping up for another one here in round 3. Morgado's on the cusp of Musgrave, and he's going to force him to block the inside. Kyle Wick is not out of this yet as Morgado slips a gear coming out of the infield.
Wow, big opportunity there. Another issue for Irwin a little further back. He fell back. But again, right there was Morgado. Was thinking to try to go back down the inside of that shark fin, that right-hander where he passed Myers yesterday. Tried to pass him earlier today with the contact, but a little issue coming out. I don't know if he missed a gear, whatever happened. That allowed Musgrave to skirt away a little bit. But this battle back here is continuing to fight because Jacob Gulick back up on the wheel, moving forward a couple of spots.
We'll see if we can maybe pull a side-by-side angle to see what happened to Jay Irwin down in turn 2. I would imagine he was pressuring Marin Kremers. It's allowed Talon Yockel to get by, so maybe the Kiwi kid that turned 16 on Thursday got into it a little bit with the former champ, the reigning #1 plate, just as they kind of did in Orlando, except it was him watching Jacob Gulick, who runs ahead of him, get into it a little bit with Marin Kremers. But it's allowed Talon Yockel to get up into 4th. It could be a season-high finish for Talon in the 24. Kyle Wick trying to get a first podium on the year, and here's the battle for the 5th now.
How about Ian Quinn going after Marian Kremers? Quinn 14th in points coming in. Every step forward he makes, potentially to get to the Circle of Champions. Can he go to 10th with a fantastic run? He's battling right now with a former world champion in Marian Kremers, the national #1 plate holder. Quinn on the PSL Karting Burrell Art having a tremendous drive here in 6th position. Musgrave still leading. Laps winding down here right now. There'll be 2 to go when they get back to the stripe.
Impressive stuff from Ian Quinn, and we'll have the updates for you because it's an all-out brawl for the bubble spot. The final couple positions in the Circle of Champions, the fully funded ride for 2025 as the Gulick and Irwin battle rages on. This is for 8th. There is the 2 of them, 8th and 9th. Ahead of them, Isambard by himself. Quinn versus Kremers. Yockel a bit up the road, and the top 2 are closing together again. Can Mateus Morgado rebound Billy Musgrave? I want to chuck that up a little bit to experience to force the mistake out of the young Brazilian, who is only in his 2nd year of gearbox action, his 1st year in the States, to back it up just enough and force him to hesitate or potentially make a mistake. But now, lap and a half to go for Billy to hang on.
This is it. There's your points as we run right now Morgado has the position he needs. Like we said, Contact could be bring something from the steward's room. We'll see what happens there. But right now, this is an opportunity for Billy Musgrave to put a factory kart on the top of the box here at the Summer Nationals. The American-made iron tried to bring the red, white, and blue home P1. He's got a decent little advantage right now as he comes through the double left-handers. He's got to put a magic lap down here, getting it all done. White flag will fly when they get back around. One more shot here for Billy Musgrave to come home as a winner at the Summer Nats. He'll come through turn 16, 17, and 18. The white flag will fly. One more lap to go for Billy Musgrave.
What an impressive run here. He's pulled that gap back out. Digging deep here. Billy Musgrave has about 10 years of experience on Mateus Morgado, and he's putting it to use, but you can see the rear tires are going away on the factory kart. Loose in the brake zone there in turn 2. Morgado is close again into the shark fin. Mateus needs to be careful here. A DNF along with a potential penalty if they make any calls on the Myers incident could potentially put a wrench on the championship, but he'd love to add on a bonus, a race win. Could he sweep the season's mains? Half a lap to go. Billy Musgrave hanging on for everything he's got right now.
Only a couple more opportunities for the overtake for Mateus Morgado, but it's a good run here to the cell tower for Billy Musgrave. He's got 2 to 3 car lengths. Can he bring it home and put an American on the top of the podium through the turn 14 and 15 corners? He's got a good gap here. They'll work their way down the back straightaway. Musgrave's got a lot of room. He'll come to 16 and 17. He's going to get the job done. Final couple of corners, and the winner here in Pro Shifter, Billy Musgrave.
For the first time in nearly 10 years, Billy Musgrave has added a victory lane at Newcastle Motorsports Park. And Mateus Morgado, a provisional champ, but look at Billy there, victorious. His second Pro Tour win in just as many seasons. And the All-American movement has got 2 major U.S. wins in the month of July. Billy Musgrave, what a performance. It absolutely catapults him into the Circle of Champions to fund that ride for 2025. And look at the respect of the rest of the field coming by. Marin Kremers and the rest of the veterans paying homage to Billy Musgrave and the number 22 factory kart entry. What a race.
Oh, man.
What a performance there. And he had to withstand a whole lot of pressure from the provisional champion, Mateus Morgado.
I'll tell you this, Xander, you can see the emotion already in him as he crawls around the racetrack here. You think about all the time and the effort, the blood, sweat, and tears they put into this factory kart program, all the R&D, all those days, all those laps that he pounds out to make this kart what it needs to be. And if you want to, here we go. There's
the factory kart program all rolling on by. He's got a bunch of new drivers he's ready to bring up to the front with him. And, well, they've got the best data in the world now. Billy Musgrave, 4/10 over Morgado. Kyle Wick completes the podium. Yockel with the season high of 4th. Marin Kremers at top 5 here in Indiana. And all the way back through the rest of the top 10. All results provisional. And as well, there is Tom Kutcher coming by to congratulate personally the race winner, 20 laps. And he had to withstand a massive, massive fight. And that is shifter kart racing at its finest.
And how's that for an advertisement for factory karts as a top-level shifter kart? The emotion is real. What a tremendous run for Billy Musgrave, able to avoid that early carnage between Mateus Morgado and A.J. Myers. And Billy Musgrave comes home as the winner. There's the donuts coming from your provisional champion, Mateus Morgado, the Burrell Art PSL karting driver, lighting him up and signing his name onto the asphalt here at Newcastle Motorsports Park.
Yeah, what a performance. Mateus Morgado, an incredible rookie year, and the champion in Pro Shifter in spectacular fashion, winning round 1, winning round 2, a second here in Newcastle, and he survives one heck of a championship battle that I'm sure will be talked about for quite some time, going head-to-head against the Magic Man, A.J. Myers, who is one of the most highly decorated American shifter kart drivers over the last 2 decades, alongside this 4-time SuperNats champ that is a winner at Newcastle for the first time in nearly 10 years.
Yeah, that's amazing. Bailey's going to love that when he works his way back around here. Musgrave in that factory kart machine, scoring the win. Challenged throughout the race, first by Kyle Wick, and then aggressively by Mateus Morgado, but he comes home with the victory. Hard fought 20 laps. You know those tires will be roasted. The driver probably roasted as well, but man, anytime you're winning, you get that little extra that you'll need to get you through the remainder of the day.
And again, for Billy Musgrave, for those of you just learning about this driver here, he has built this brand, this chassis, all American-made, the American-made movement. Most of the chassis you saw, all the brands here over the course of the last 2 days of coverage, and a lot of our major events are made across the pond in Europe. And Billy, a couple of years ago, began this project, and now he gets a win at the SKUSA Pro Tour for the second time with it. Here is Morgado and Marin Kremer's former teammates. And PSL Karting has now won the Pro Shifter Championship for 3 years in a row. Marin with the first two. And that is a cool kind of passing of the torch, if you will, for the day. For the number 1 plate, to give a big congratulations to his former teammate who was able to take his former ride.
I'm looking forward to seeing how things shake out from the tail end of the top 10 as well when we're talking about the Circle of Champions, because there was a number of drivers that were right there, just on the inside, just on the outside, that had some tremendous drives. You think about Ian Quinn coming in and doing what he did, putting the battle. There we go, the transition.
How about that?
Of the number 1 plate.
That is
there's your passing of the torch.
That is pretty freaking awesome, man. There is a look at these two standing on by Marin Kremer's a passing of the torch. The number 1 plate to Mateus Morgado, but the number 1 driver on track today, Billy Musgrave. And sadly, I know he wanted to give us some donuts, but there you can see the broken clutch on the factory kart, but it hung on. He was able to still muscle that thing to the race win. And how about that, man? That is such a cool moment here, you know, for all of us that are so, you know, Americans and North Americans, big fans of all of our superstars. All of them have had to level up, and really hearing from many, it began when Marin Kremers came over and won the first Pro Tour Championship. They all went to work. And there's not a lot of guys that work harder than this man right here, Billy Musgrave.
Remember this, too. He's not a kid. He's 30 years old, at least 30, I think. So this is a guy who dedicates himself to shifter kart racing, dedicates himself to his new manufacturing program, Factory Karts, and to be able to come away with a victory like this, absolutely unbelievable for Billy Musgrave. I guarantee you, they're partying in Southern California tonight.
Oh, yeah, 32 years young, Billy Musgrave from Southern California on the All-American-made factory kart is going to slowly roll his way towards the scale line. We'll be waiting to get a word with him, with the provisional champion, Mateus Morgado, as well. Oh, man, this is going to be one heck of a celebration for the crew. There is David Land working over to the provisional champion. What a fight all year. What a rookie season here for Mateus Morgado, Dave.
Yeah, I'm going to roll my eyes at that one, Xander, but I'll say it anyway. The rookie, Mateus Morgado, congratulations. You got the number 1 plate. How awesome does this feel?
Well, really happy. Lots of support. I think it was a great season so far, so I think me and all the team deserve this great result. Wanted to finish the last round with a win, but, well, second place, I'm happy to take home the championship.
That was one of the big storylines coming into this season, was your shift, pardon the pun, to pro shifter in the States. Could you ever have imagined that the season was going to go this well for you?
Well, I knew I would fight with the guys, but I mean, we always expect as drivers to win races, but it's not easy in a grid like this. So I'm super happy of my performance as well, on how my races went. So yeah, thanks God, everything went really well.
I've got to ask you about the contact with AJ down in the Monza corner. What happened down there?
Well, yesterday I made the same pass, and he turned the go-kart on me. Today was not too different. He's the type of driver that usually do this stuff, so I was not surprised, but happy I could get out of there. And yeah.
$10,000 richer. That's got to feel good.
Oh yeah, that's good.
You got $10,000.
Mateus Morgado, $10,000 richer, and hey, here comes Tom.
Yeah, how about that, Dave? You can hear Tom Kutcher working his way on through, saying, oh, yeah, man, that you just took 10 grand from me, buddy, and another couple $1,000 as well. But he wants to say one more thing here. So, Dave, we'll send it on down to you. Mateus would like to get a little more?
Yeah. Mateus wanted to say a little bit more. We cut the interview off a little bit, and Marin Kremers is coming in here. I'll let you boys take it away.
Have to thank him because before the final, I'm like, Marin, if I win, how can I make donuts? And, well, he taught me, and it was okay. It was, I'd say, 6 out of 10.
Marin? For the first time. I mean, all year I've been watching him win and then just pull into the pits like it's nothing. So I wanted to make sure that he knew how to do it and gave you guys a bit of a show.
That's two champions right there, teaching us how to make donuts. Who would have thought?
Thank you, Dave. Here, how about that here? And now we'll let Dave work his way on over in just a moment as Billy Musgrave is victorious. The scale line continues to roll. He's having a quick moment there with Tom Kutcher as well. The last couple of carts kind of working their way in. So Billy's going to get that cart close to the weigh scale and move the line along. And then we will be able to chat with the most recent race winner on the Pro Tour. And, man, did he have to work for it, Dave?
Yeah, the All-American badass Billy Musgrave. That was a tough one. Mateus Morgado, the new champion, chasing you down. How'd you hold on?
Barely. Is the honest answer. No, I mean, I just started putting in good laps in the beginning. I was super patient yesterday, and, you know, it kind of cost me a little bit, but I just kind of sat behind, you know, AJ and Morgado and Kremers and just kind of learned. I was doing a little bit of studying. So, you know, we tried some stuff in the second heat race yesterday. You know, and like I said yesterday, it's like we were fast in certain spots, and I think with this track, with this layout, it's like, you know, you can choose to be fast down the long chutes, choose to be fast down the short chutes. So we kind of reconfigured the go-kart, the setup, the engine a little bit to really just maximize that straightaway, and then I could protect on the infield if I had to. But yeah, after those opening laps, you know, it was aggressive on the start. Luckily, I was able to get ahead of Kremers and then slot in behind AJ and Morgado. And then, you know, they were driving aggressive. I mean, they're going for a championship, and, you know, obviously they want to win. So a little bit of contact. I was able to sit back and take advantage of that. And then, yeah, from there on, just put my head down. You know, arms started getting a little tired there at the end. But, yeah, just held on to it. Go-kart was phenomenal. Power. I can't thank Carlos at Carlos Engines enough for putting this program together. You know, this is the most comfortable I've been on a KZ in a long time. And yeah, I mean, this is, you know, we're 2 in a row now, and I think this is just the beginning.
You know, we have some great statisticians up in the booth like Emery Lida. This win moved you up into the Champions Club. How important is that for your next season, and of course also rolling into Supernats?
Yeah, it's huge. I mean, what SKUSA's put together this year with the Circle of Champions, and you know, getting all the race entries and the prize money for next year, it's absolutely massive. You know what I mean? I don't come on a huge budget. You know, I piece together what I can. You know what I mean? Thank you, Frank Baldozier Racing, for all the help he gives me and the, you know, lets me be here. All the help to Nathan at you know, Vermont Kart Company and Carlos. Like I said, I mean, it's scraping everything together to come do this and put these karts into production and, you know, try to chase the American dream, and we're here doing it and proving that it's still real.
The American badass chasing the American dream. Boys, I sense a little bit of emotion in Billy Musgrave's voice.
No doubt about it. When you have a drive like that here, Billy Musgrave is going to definitely enjoy it, and it took everything he had to be able to pull off the win. Well, let's go back and see how he got it done. Lots of key moments from this race, and it begins. First, we had that false start moment for the field as the back couple of drivers weren't quite ready. So Billy saying, hey, boys and girls, well, listen, we cannot all roast our motors. And a veteran move saying, let's do this right. Let's get a good start. And this time off the start, AJ able to get the whole shot down to turn number 2.
And indeed, what did Billy say? Able to get in front of Marian Kremers, which might have been very crucial for him to be able to come away with that victory, right? He's able to get through there. Obviously, the contact we'll see coming up here momentarily, but for him to be able to work his way nicely up into the top 3, top 4, perfect for Billy Musgrave.
Then the race kind of went on to right here. This big moment, Morgado to the inside of AJ Myers, and the contact between the two of them as they collided took AJ out, and it gave the lead to Billy and second to Kyle Wick. And so the battles and the top 10 changed quite a bit. There's a look at the moment that teammates together, the Trinity Karting Group duo of Sam Dicker and Gavin Bailiff colliding and going out early. And Bailiff, again, one of those drivers on the cusp of the Circle of Champions, as was Jacob Gulick on the cusp of third. So there was a lot of implications, including a move like that there for Marian Kremers and Alan Isambard getting together, fighting for the final couple spots in the top 5. It allowed a few more to slip on by. But ultimately, the battle came down to a move like that. Billy Musgrave covering off the shark fin. One small mistake getting out of the corner bought him a little more time to be able to try and get away from Mateus. And then the moment here, Jay Irwin at the same time kind of having an issue with Marian Kremers. He was able to pick up the pieces to get back going, but he lost a lot of time. And so the points continued to fluctuate. But the race win went to the number 22, holding off a hard-charging Brazilian. And how about Kyle Wick to salvage the weekend on the number 3 plate? And then this moment here, Billy Musgrave, Tom Kutcher embracing after what was a sensational main event. And what a performance for Billy. And as well, Mateus Morgado getting a little advice there as Martin Kremmer's teacher, mentor to the donuts over in turn 2. He was almost good. He said 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
Had to go to the grass for a minute.
It's interesting. You think about Billy Musgrave and what he's done over the last decade, right? Starting in the Formula S2 semi-pro category, getting a chance to win there, and then moving up to S1. All the race wins he's had at the Super Nats, and then to have this victory here, the Summer Nats on his own equipment, huge for him here in the KZ Pro Shifter category, and what a fantastic way to end this weekend.
And we've still got more drivers to chat with, folks, here. We heard from Mateus Morgado, the provisional champion. We've heard from Billy Musgrave, the provisional race winner, which should be all good as the rest begin to roll on through. Here is the provisional points as they finished on the racetrack. Kyle Wick will change the number 2 for a 3-plate next year. He is able to leapfrog Jacob Gulick at the end of the main event with a run forward. Comes up a little bit shy with a 3rd place result in the race. He needed to probably win the overall main event to be able to leapfrog AJ Myers and maybe steal 2nd, but still a little change there. Both of the GFC drivers able to transfer through the Circle of Champions. We'll be doing the math on that for the back of the top 10, then also get $1,000 cash and the fully funded 2025 season. How about Talon Yockel?
Couple spots up.
Privateers up there, yeah, jumped up from 7th coming in, moves himself into the top 5. What a performance for Talon, and well, he's standing by with Dave, a season high of a 4th on the racetrack here, just off the podium, but it also puts him into 5th provisionally in the championship. Dave?
Independent driver and now driver. Full time. Let's try that again. There we go. Audio. Believe it or not, my body was blocking the audio. Alan, you're newly emancipated, independent driver, and you get your best result of the season. How's that going?
It was a big race of survival, basically. Let everyone hash it out and just make it through cleanly. No drama going on through the 20 laps. It was just keep it clean and be consistent, and it worked out in 4th. I'm pretty sure I'm 3 for 3 for being 4th around Summer Nats now in Shifter.
And it was a wild race. How did you stay out of all that trouble?
I basically was at the tail end of each of the packs that formed up, and the first incident, it was 2 drivers. I passed them, and then it was Kremers and Isenbord, I believe, and I got 3 positions just for free, basically. But it was just a good, consistent race to just stay at the back and let them hash it out, basically. So it feels good.
Xander mentioned that now it's just you and your dad in a pickup truck, essentially, and it's a lot different than operating out of a tent, that's for sure. So just talk about how gratifying that sort of thing is to do family style.
It definitely feels really good to do this well as a privateer. You work really hard at it, practice all the time to get the results. Obviously, I want to try to win, but I've got to feel good for Billy as well. He's my friend, so congrats to him. But, yeah, it's just a lot of hard work, and it's starting to show as a privateer.
Talon Yockel, the top finishing privateer, and it was a pretty good result for him.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Talon Yockel, P4 on the racetrack, and P5 provisionally in the championship. And he'll be happy to hopefully return for the full 2025 SKUSA Pro Tour thanks to the Circle of Champions Fund. That will bring him back. So a big congratulations goes out to Talon and his father. And, of course, the 2 of them, all on their own, independence.
I love it. I think it's fantastic to have a privateer effort like that, father and son. It's a lot about the sport is about. Even at this top level, you can get it done if you focus on the right thing. So congratulations to Talon. And then, like you said, started 7th coming into the day, ends up going 5th in the championship provisionally. Great job for him all day long.
From Talon Yockel with one heck of a run with a local North Carolina-based operation. Well, not so much local, and definitely not local this week. Across the country, back and forth for Martin Kremers over the last 10 days. He's standing by with Dave after this top 5 run in the main.
There's no driver who's going to be more excited to see his bed this week, I think, than Martin Kremers. But before we talk about the travel schedule, let's just talk about this race. What was kind of your perspective? It looked like, the top three were gone and you were kind of battling for the scraps there. Kind of talk through your race.
Oh, it was bad. I had a decent enough start. Billy squeezed me down to the inside and got in front of me. I was in fourth for a little bit early on. I don't even remember what happened. Mateus and AJ got together, and after that it was just a mess. I was hanging on for dear life. Just had no engine power. I think we had an issue with the piston or something like that. It's happened to me before, and it just felt similar to that. So, it's unfortunate, but we were struggling with the engine. Beginning of the race wasn't too bad. I was overdriving to keep up with them, and then once the tires gave in because I was overdriving it so much, I was just hanging on. So that was basically my race.
So let's talk about that weekend, just to remind the viewers. You've definitely been the frequent flyer. You started here, you ended up in Amsterdam, Italy, and then I think you reversed the process, ended all the way back here in Spiceland, Indiana. So just kind of, was this the craziest weekend of your career, just from that perspective?
Yeah, probably. I cursed a few times in the plane, thinking this was a stupid idea, thinking I could pull this off. It was difficult. I mean, yesterday I was really tired. Today I'm doing a lot better, but this final was tiring. So happy to go to sleep tonight and then back to Amsterdam tomorrow and then to Sweden. So no time at home.
The international man, that's Martin Kremers. We're happy to have him here, that's for sure.
Yeah, Martin Kremers is, a welcome return, kind of a homecoming for him here this weekend after missing out on Cincinnati and only getting over to the U.S. here for Orlando after he had that opportunity to sign with the Tony Kart Factory Racing Team. We weren't quite sure how much we were going to see him, but he let everybody know, he's like, I want to get back to the States. I loved racing here these last 2 years full time, and it's been a lot of fun to have him back in the paddock again, and it's cool, and it's a testament to his character that the PSL karting group, even as he was walking through, he was getting hugs all the way through from them. But we had one heck of a championship fight, folks, and it went crazy. We heard from Mateus Morgado. Let's hear from the other half and our provisional vice champ here, and AJ Myers, who sadly did not get to run all 20 laps in the main here, Dave.
Yeah, AJ, I mean, obviously the championship battle came down to the Monza corner, and I'm sure you've probably heard that Mateus didn't have the kindest words to say about how you raced him in that corner. I mean, what are your thoughts on that incident between you and Mateus Morgado?
I mean, my take is that's kind of a funny reaction considering I'm in the lead of the race and he tried to move me in I-70 first. I held the position. I blocked in the shark fin. He decided to put two tires in the dirt to go by me. Initially, I had to turn left to avoid him, and then as it happens, he missed apex by 10 feet and collected my front end and destroyed my go-kart. So it's classic of the red go-karts, it seems like. Kremers is out of the red go-kart. We race clean. It's just the red go-karts, to me, we're just magnets together. I wouldn't want to win a championship like that, and I wouldn't want to blame the guy I took out for the crash. So all respect to Mateus. He's a great driver and obviously super quick. But today I feel like I got taken out and don't feel like a championship should be won like that.
How can you kind of is there a discussion that needs to be had? I mean, can you talk this out?
I just actually talked to him on the way here. I mean, he blames me for it. I'm that kind of driver is what he says, I guess. Power to him. Everyone knows the Europeans are the most aggressive. They come over here and they crash. So me and Billy, we race year in, year out. How many times me and Billy crash like this? We don't. So they come over here and they blame us for the crashes, and it's typical. But it is what it is. We move on, and I'm happy with what we've showed here. I mean, we're up front always, and the Kart, Sani engines, Magic Kart, we're always up front, and our time will come.
AJ Myers, a difficult day, obviously some tough words on both sides, but he's got a positive spin at the end of the day.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Again, a big kudos to AJ Myers for coming over to speak with us. We definitely appreciate it. And, that's the last thing that you want to do on a day like today when you have a rough go of things. But, again, he's still second in the championship, still 5K, Supernats entry. but I'm sure he would have loved the title.
Well, and listen, the bottom line is this is the pro show. These are the professional drivers that we have within Superkarts USA, right? So there are things you have to do as a professional driver. Some of those are having those tougher interviews at the end of the day. David did a great job asking the questions that needed to be asked, but I thought AJ handled it very classy-wise.
Well, if there's anything to learn here, we've got a lot of storylines to take with us into Las Vegas, but another one that definitely should not be overshadowed is the incredible drive up the grid Kyle Wick has had here this weekend, from missing out on Super Pole in a weekend where he's tried to get himself back into the championship fight, back into the points on the weekend, and at least move himself, from what we can tell, potentially to position number 3. And position number 3 on the racetrack as well. He's also standing by here down with Dave after a race day podium.
A great day, and good for the points, good for the prize pool. I would say a solid day. What would you say?
I'm disappointed in the end, really. I mean, third isn't what we want to do. Out of our 2 finishes, we've been third both times. Just need to find a little more.
Where is that little more, do you think? I mean, if you could evaluate, I mean, where are you missing right now?
It's hard to say right now. We need to go back and review everything that's been going on the last couple races and see what we can do.
Speaking of the battles on track, I mean, kind of talk through your race. I mean, what was kind of your perspective on the whole event?
And on the start, I saw everyone trying to get to the inside, and I knew the train was going to stop early, so I decided to go to the outside, and I made up I think I came up 3 ahead exiting turn 1, and then I tried to go by Marin on the first start, and he didn't quite give me enough room on the straight, which I expected. I wasn't really there for the kink. It's hard to pass on the straight here with the kink. It makes it a little tougher to pass down with horsepower. You got to pass on the brakes, and then with the tangle, I was able to get through in second, and I thought I had enough for Billy, and I started to fade, and Matthias was coming so fast, I let him by and thinking that, we'd be back to Billy soon, and it didn't work out. So,
I guess since you mentioned the tangle, I mean, I guess you're kind of an unbiased eye into that. I mean, what did you kind of see from your perspective?
Really, I was too far back. Like, everyone was on the inside, and I knew I didn't have much behind, so I opened up, and I didn't really see it.
That's fair. That's a political answer. We haven't gotten many of those today, but a podium finish, good points today, and a little bit of momentum going into the future.
Thank you, Dave. As we wrap things up from Newcastle Motorsports Park here, at least for the on-track activities and post-race interviews, we'll be streaming the podiums here when they're ready, but there's obviously a lot that still needs to be confirmed from the semi-pro main events and the pro show mains as well, between race results and championship podiums. A lot of prizes to be decided here, but Rob, closing thoughts from a crazy and intense SKUSA Summer Nationals.
Well, again, my first opportunity to be here for the pro show, right? I missed the first couple of races of the year due to my other commitments. So to see that, to see Super Pole, I thought that was a fantastic approach to the race weekend. I thought the racing was fantastic. We saw a lot of really great storylines. The championship battles were great throughout. The kids put on a great show in both the micro and the mini categories. Big day for obviously Turner Brown in the junior classes as well. But to be able to come into these final runs here, the absolute domination, an excellence run by Ryan Norberg in the Pro X30. Again, just another Ryan Norberg kind of performance, right, to come away with another championship, to add that on to his unbelievable, legendary, really, resume here in American karting, then wrapping things up with a fantastic battler. Billy Musgrave with a huge victory. All in all, I just think a tremendous weekend here at the Summer Nationals.
Yeah, I can't understate enough how intense and fun to call that Mini Swift main event was earlier, and the storylines that we've got to pull out of this event, the awesome battles on the racetrack, and 2 more championships officially crowned here from Newcastle Motorsports Park. It has been our pleasure here at Kart Chaser both to welcome you back, to join me in the booth here, Rob, for Caleb Bieska, David Land, the hardworking Superkarts USA team led by Tom Kutcher, Neil Strickland, Tony Leone, and the rest of the awesome men and women in blue and black. And of course, Mike Adams and the entire Newcastle Motorsports Park awesome track staff for 230 plus drivers, the SKUSA Summer Nationals and the 2024 SKUSA Pro Tour. My name's Andrew Clemens for Rob Howden, EKN, and Kart Chaser, and all of the awesome action we've been able to bring to you. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with podiums, but for everything else, we're signing off. Here. First up, Nash Motorsports, KA100 Junior. Third place in today's main event, Enzo Vidmontian. Second place in today's KA100 Junior main event presented by Nash Motorsports, Diego Ardiles. And your round 6 Nash Motorsports KA100 Junior main event winner, Turner Brown. Again, KA Junior, KA Senior, and Mini Swift. You all were upwards of 30 total go-karts in your class, which means you got a cash purse for each of the days of racing. So, boys, trophies high above your heads here first. Give one more round of applause for a KA Junior podium. And we will allow the top 3 here in the KA Junior class, as well as if anyone finished on the podium in a KA Junior, KA Senior, or Mini Swift main event today or yesterday. Make sure you come behind me and head over to Alexis and the rest of the SuperKarts USA officials to get your W9 and your check will be mailed out. Sodi Racing USA KA100 Senior, third place today, Fernando Luque. Again, KA Junior drivers, once you get your trophies all handed off, go ahead and you can begin making a line back here. Second place today in Sodi Racing USA KA100 Senior, Jake Drew. And your main event winner in Sodi USA KA100 Senior, Caleb Gaffera. Once again, Caleb, Jake, Fernando, we'll have you guys pose for the photos, and then you can head over behind me to go ahead and get your forms filled to be able to get your checks mailed. Trophies above your heads, boys. Give it up for your KA Senior podium. Next up will be J&M Racing Micro Swift for the race day. Once again, boys, go ahead and make your way over here behind me. J&M Racing Micro Swift, third place today, Cameron Johnson. It's a double podium weekend for our second place finisher, Jake Manalio. And a first career SKUSA Pro Tour main event win for Jaden Francisco. Jaden may have had, there you go, there you are, Jaden. Long walk on up here. All right, for our youngest superstars on the Pro Tour, trophies high up above your heads, boys. Give it up for your Micro Swift podium. Next up will be our Factory Fury GP Kart Motorsport Master Shifter main event. Top 3 here from today's race. Actually, since we switched the order today, our trophies are switched. I'll make it easy. Swap these around. We'll hang on one moment for Master Shifter. They went to the 5th seed. We'll go to RPG X30 Junior. Third place, Nix Eggleston. Second place in RPG X30 Junior, Diego Ardiles. And a sweep of today's Junior Division main events, your winner, Chico Brown. All right, congratulations here to our X30 Junior top 3 here from today's main event. Turner Brown, Diego Ardiles, Nix Eggleston. Boys, trophies above your heads. Give it up for your X30 Junior podium. Now, with the updated order, we'll move over to Factory Fury GP Kart Motorsport Master Shifters main event. As we'll let the X30 Juniors populate their way off the podium. Third place in Master Shifter, Tim Hollowell. Second place in Master Shifters main event, Skitchy Barnes. And your main event winner in round 6 for Master Shifter, Joe Rook. And we'll let the master shifters make their way onto the podium. Whoop. There we go. Trophies above your heads, fellas. Let's give it up for our master shifter podium. Next up, 6th on the class rotation on the day. Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republic, Mini Swift. 3rd place in today's main event, Lorenzo Varela. 2nd place in TKG Kart Republic's main event, Rocco Simone. And what a charge in the last 2 laps to go from 6th to 1st. Your main event winner, Troy Ferguson. Again, parents of Mini Swift drivers that finished on the top 3 race day podium with your class upwards of 30 here this weekend, you all have some cash for both today and yesterday. So while the boys have their trophies up, parents, after the race day podium, go ahead and make your way behind me. The forms are filled out, so you can get paid $1,000 to Troy Ferguson, $500 to Rocco Simone, and $250 for Lorenzo Varela, and the same for yesterday's podium in TKG Kart Republic Mini Swift. So congratulations to our Mini Swift class. Now it's time for the first of our the final 2 main events on the day. Speed Concepts Racing, Pro X30, 3rd place, Jonathan Ports. Second place in today's main event. It was a 2-driver runaway on more than 8 seconds. Austin Garrison. And your round 3 SKUSA Pro Tour main event winner in Pro X30, Ryan Norberg. All right, we'll let Ryan, Johnny, and Austin Garrison all get set up here. Fellas, trophies above your heads. Give it up for your Pro X30 main event podium. Next up will be PSL Karting Pro Shifters Race Day podium. And then we'll move over to our championship top 3 podiums as well. Again, Pro X30 Pro Shifter drivers, if you can hear this in the paddock, if you're in the top 10 and you ran all 3 races, make your way over to podium so that way you can get your paperwork filled out, get your prizes. PSL Karting Pro Shifter, 3rd place today, Mateus Morgado. Second place in today's Pro Shifter main event, Kyle Wick. And your main event winner in Pro Shifter, Billy Musgrave. What a battle this was to cap off the Pro Tour. You can't ask for anything better than a duel, a slugfest over all 20 laps. And for the first time since 2015, we get to see Billy Musgrave on top of the box here in Indiana. Give it up for your Pro Shifter podium. A huge congratulations here to our top 3 and Pro Shifter, and of course American pride for this SuperKarts USA Championship to have a USA-made brand on top and the main event today. We move on now to our championship podium top 3 for all 8 divisions once again, but also again for Pro Shifter and for Pro X30. The top 10 all have some prizes, so make sure if you're in the top 10 in points or you think you might be for Pro X30 or Pro Shifter, also head to the podiums. Everyone, again, once your podiums are done, head to the desk behind me to make sure your paperwork's filled out. Let's start our championship top 3. First up, Nash Motorsports, KA100 Jr. 3rd place for 2024, Enzo Vidmontien.
Remember, these are all temporary until we've been about fuel and everything else, right? Yeah.
Second place in your Nash Motorsports KA100 Junior Championship, Turner Brown. And again, while we are awarding all of these championships, remember we still have lots more to make sure that it is all proper and correct. So just a footnote, but as things stand provisionally, the first of our 8 SKUSA Pro Tour champions in KA Junior is Diego Ardiles.
Let's double check.
Yeah.
We're taking trophies for the Pro Tour with us as of right now, right?
For all classes?
What are we doing?
Are they allowed to walk away with their championship trophy? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're good. All right, there it is for your Nash Motorsports K1 Junior Championship podium. Diego Ardiles, Turner Brown, Enzo Vidmontien. And again, all provisional, but you are able to take those trophies home. Congratulations to the first of our 8 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour National Champions, Diego Ardiles. Well, the first of 8 divisions. I must add that footnote because we're going to be calling some familiar names up later. First up, though, Sodi Racing USA KA100 Senior, one of the classes that came all the way down to the wire. 98 points separated your top 3 when the dust settled. Third place in the Pro Tour, Henry Wheeler. Your 2024 SKUSA Pro Tour K100 Senior Vice Champion, P2, Finnegan Bailiff. Yesterday, he said he wasn't sure if he'd ever be good enough to win a SKUSA Pro Tour main event. He did that, and he is now officially your SKUSA Pro Tour champion in K100 Senior. Give it up for James Overbeck! By just 31 markers in one of the closest championship fights this class has seen. Boys, trophies up above your heads. Give it up. James Overbeck, Finnegan Bailiff, and Henry Wheeler in KA Senior.
Some of them are double pitched.
This one was flipped. All right. Congratulations to your K100 Senior drivers. Again, all the championship podiums. Make sure that you've got a if you haven't already, everyone for the podiums here, top 3, to check and make sure that if you need some paperwork filled out, you've got it behind me. Micro Swift, our youngest superstars. We need a big pop for our top 3 in the SKUSA Pro Tour in our 7 to 10-year-old J&M Racing Micro Swift class. First up, third place, today's main event, awesome drive, Santiago Oriole. Second place, your 2024 SKUSA Pro Tour Micro Swift Vice Champion, Win Gunchuk! And your 2024 SKUSA Pro Tour National Champion of Micro Swift, Zane Burgess! Awesome stuff, guys. Congratulations here. Our the future of motorsports standing on the podium in front of us all for our Micro Swift class presented by J&M Racing. Boys, they're big trophies. We want you to try and hold them up. Give it up for your Micro Swift top 3. All right, next up will be Factory Fury GP Kart Motorsport Master Shifter. We're still going to have a lot of pictures for the Micro Swifts, so they've got to hold those trophies up a few more moments. For mom, dad, friends, and family, all here. I believe we're cleared out now. All right, now let's move on. Master Shifter, presented by Factory Fury GP Kart Motorsport. Third place in the Master Shifter Pro Tour Championship standings, Luis Quinones. Second place in your Master Shifter Championship podium, Joe Rock! And your 2024 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour Master Shifter Champion. He won the Winter Series title. Flies here all the way from Bermuda, your champ, Skitchy Barnes! All right, Master Shifters, we'll have you guys raise those trophies high above your heads. All right, next up, Rollison Performance Group X30 Junior. Third place in the final SKUSA Pro Tour Championship to Turner Brown. P2 as a part of a Speed Concepts Racing 1-2 in the RPG X30 Junior class this year. for Jackson Wolney. And he said it was a dream to be able to win one Pro Tour championship when we talked to him today. He's now won 2. Your X30 Junior National Champ, Diego Ardiles. All in a day's work here for these three that had it all the way down to the final main event between Jackson and Diego. Boys, trophies up. Give it up for your X30 Junior Championship podium. All right, 3 more classes, I believe, remain on our championship top 3 honors. First up, Trinity Karting Group, Kart Republic, Mini Swift. He won today's main event that catapulted him to the number 3 plate. Third in the championship for Troy Ferguson. Your 2024 TKG Kart Republic Mini Swift Vice Champion, P2, Rocco Simone. And your 2024 SuperKarts USA Pro Tour National Champion in Mini Swift, Ashton Woon. Trophies high above your heads here, Rocco. Let's go and see if we can get it up. There we go. For your Mini Swift podium. Give it up one more time for our youngest superstars. The 8 to 12-year-olds, our second class on the Pro Tour ladder, had a fantastic race today. Unbelievable main event to close out the season. Speed Concepts Racing Pro X30s next up in one heck of a close title fight. P3 for Diego Ramos. A super consistent season had Diego Ramos in the fight all the way to the end, and a solid performance. He ends up third in the 2024 Pro Tour Championship. Your 2025 number 2 plate, your vice champ, Hayden Jones. And your main event winner did everything he needed to do. Scored a full weekend sweep to go back from 97.5 out of the lead to become the champion once again. Your champion Pro X30, Ryan Norberg. There we go. Trophies up above your heads here. Diego and Ryan are as far as you guys are getting older can reach above your heads as well. But in all seriousness, congratulations. What a hard-fought championship fight. And it was wide open all the way through. The main event had everyone pulling the calculators out. 1 or 2 positions different. And our entire top 5 could have changed. And now we move over to PSL Karting, Pro Shifters Championship. Your top 3 after all the dust has settled. The number 3 plate. Provisionally, of course. Again, we still have a few more things to touch and make sure it's all official. But your top 3, as calculated, P3 in the PSL Karting Pro Shifter Championship, AJ Myers. He entered this year with the number 3 plate. He led coming into this event last year, came up short this year, a little further back, but he overcame the adversity through the weekend to end up as the vice champ. He'll be the number 2 in Vegas, Jacob Gulick. And in his first full season, he continues and makes it 3 years in a row. PSL Karting's driver has topped the Pro Shifter Championship. Your champ for 2024, Mateus Morgado. The massive prize purse here will be distributed out for the entire top 10. Trophies up, boys, as we celebrate the SKUSA Pro Tour for 2024. Let's give it up one more time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we'll leave our backdrop up. Again, all top 10 drivers in Pro X30 and Pro Shifters Championship. Make sure that you make your way to the podium desk behind me to make sure your paperwork is completed so you can get your prizes, top 3 in all semi-pro classes. And for Mini Swift, KA Junior, KA Senior, if you were on the podium yesterday or today, come to the desk behind me to make sure that you're all sorted for your prizes as well. We'll sign off the live stream from here as the trophies can begin. Thank you all for watching at home, and thank you all for being in attendance to close out the SKUSA Summer Nationals.